In front of you, there are two systems. One is the underdog comeback system, starting as an ordinary person overcoming challenges along the way, eventually reaching the ultimate peak. The other is the destined villain system, born directly into privilege. Although it has a high starting point, there is a risk of being defeated by the protagonist. You glance at the systems before you and give a faint smile. Even a fool knows how to make a choice. As soon as you confirm it, a mechanical voice suddenly rings in your mind. Ding! The Destiny Villain system has been activated. As a special reward, you are granted the cultivation of a great emperor. Before you can even react, you go from being an ordinary mortal with no cultivation to directly ascending to the level of a great emperor. And at the moment you become a great emperor, you don't hesitate for a second. Directly summon the divine power of the earth. Search for the whereabouts of the protagonist Gu Chang. What chosen one of destiny? Nonsense about heavenly law. Destroy them all completely. With that, you tore through space without hesitation, heading straight toward your target. As your figure emerged, the might of the earth you command descended directly onto this insignificant Chongshan pavilion. Accompanying it came the sound of a bell ringing. The primal bell tolled. Hearing this bell chime, the pavilion master, Shang Guanxing, was filled with astonishment in her eyes. It was because the tolling of the primal bell signified the emergence of a crisis capable of destroying the sect. When all the elders and disciples within the pavilion arrived at the scene, they were met with an unbelievable sight. This is the might of a saint. This is undoubtedly the power of a saint. As soon as these words were spoken, the whole world was stunned. No one expected that in this small mystical realm, a sage would emerge. This is an existence of supreme honor. And at this moment, Bu Chen below was also utterly shocked. So this is what a sage looks like. He couldn't help but wonder if he could establish any connection with him. Right at this moment when all eyes were on him, in the sky, that radiant sun was emitting a dazzling divine light. Suddenly, a calm voice echoed, "The Zhongshuan Pavilion is here." When that majestic voice rang out, it was like a sudden clap of thunder. Such a saint who has just emerged. Why are you seeking out the Zhongshuan Pavilion? Was there once old grievances or past enemies? Senior, this is the Zhongshuan Pavilion. I am the current master of the pavilion. May I ask for your guidance, Senior? Shang Guanxing, dressed in a black robe, lowered her head and bowed. You replied calmly that you're looking for someone. Then your gaze shifted downward, observing the people and the layers of the profound pavilion below. As your gaze descended, that intangible pressure felt as if 1,000 tons of heavenly water came crashing down. Everyone sensed this overwhelming pressure. Their legs went weak. The entire sect knelt down. At this moment, everyone was completely stunned. A supreme saint emerged. Specifically came to Chongshan Pavilion looking for someone. Yet you paid no attention to the stares from the crowd. With just one glance, you locked onto Gu Chen's figure. Gu Chen was at the mid-stage of his dragon transformation. His destiny value was at 100,000. He possessed the golden finger, the eternal gate, along with countless rare treasures. Well, finally found you, the chosen protagonist. But unlike your happiness, Gu Chen was feeling unusually excited at the moment. I need to put on a show, hoping to catch the eye of this sage. The next moment, as if sensing your gaze, Gu Chen steadied himself under the pressure. He immediately trembled but puffed out his chest, to prove he had a will as strong as steel. Seeing this, you raised an eyebrow. A cold gleam flashed in your eyes. You acted as if nothing was wrong. In an instant, that cold gleam transformed into the overwhelming power of an ancient divine mountain. It directly crushed Gu Chen's once proud spine. Amid a startled cry from Gu Chen, he went from a legendary figure to a broken mess, collapsed into a lifeless heap on the ground. As Gu Chen met his end, you also received a system notification. Ding, you have defeated the protagonist of destiny. The destiny value of the protagonist has dropped by 3,000 points. You received a destiny treasure chest. Hearing this, you were momentarily stunned. What exactly is a destiny treasure chest? Just as you were pondering, what could possibly be inside this destiny treasure chest, the system suddenly emitted a sharp, piercing sound. Host, stay calm, stay calm. The protagonist of destiny is about to be killed by you. So noisy, let him die if he must. Is the protagonist of destiny really this easy to kill? Well, he deserves to die anyway. Hearing this, even the system was about to cry. This host has such a strong urge to kill. Why are you not following the usual pattern? But honestly, you weren't wrong. Although Gu Chen was killed by your glare, he's still the protagonist of destiny favored by the Heavenly Emperor. It's not that easy to drop dead. The spot where Gu Chen was just standing caught everyone's attention. A faint bluish-green glow suddenly flashed by. Slowly, a human-like silhouette began to take shape. He came back to life on the spot. Seeing this scene unfold, the surrounding experts from the Chongxian Pavilion stared at Gu Chen in utter shock. From your perspective of the earth, Gu Chen is able to resurrect himself right where he was. It's because of the natural divine tree within your body. And apart from that, there is also a faint reddish aura that only you can see. It lingers around Gu Chen. It is a mysterious presence that even you can't clearly sense. If my guess is correct, this must be the thing that truly protects the protagonist of destiny. At the same time, along with Gu Cheng's revival, his destiny value dropped by another 3,000 points. You appeared deep in thought upon seeing this, then casually glanced at Gu Chen once more. And once again, exclamations broke out. Gu Chen, who had just been resurrected, was blown apart again, leaving no remains. And you watched as Gu Chen was struck down once more. Only a faint green light remained at the spot. It seemed like fireflies slowly mending the damage. This signified Gu Chen had the chance to come back to life once again. What's going on? The sage is making a move against that kid. That's Gu Chen from the Chongxian Pavilion. I know he's a rising star. He's been gaining fame in the mystic world lately. How did he offend this sage? Are they going to save Gu Chen? The experts of the Chongxian Pavilion exchanged glances. Then each of them looked to the sky for help. Save my foot. This is an unmatched existence that even the Taichu sect would be shaken by. Who could possibly defeat a saint? If a genius is gone, another one can always be recruited. Cultivation is no easy task. Don't end up sacrificing yourself. At this moment, the white-robed elder from Chongxian Pavilion stepped forward. Forgive me, Venerable One, for offending you. It seems there might be some misunderstanding here. What kind of status does a saint hold? Why would a saint attack Gu Chen for no reason? And this mysterious sage has already mentioned it was to find someone. It could be that the sage is searching for a successor. Maybe they are looking for someone to carry on their legacy. In that case, Gu Chen is very likely to be chosen. This could be a test for him. When put this way, it suddenly made many people realize the truth. As expected of Elder Jiang, he even figured this out. To test Gu Chen. What a lucky little guy to envy. But speaking of which, it seems Gu Chen has quite a few cards up his sleeve. Under the power of a saint, he actually managed to hold his ground. Impressive if he can truly pass the saint's test. Gu Chen might just soar to great heights. The experts from Chongxian Pavilion agreed it made sense. And all of them waved Gu Chen away. The crowds surrounding them, watching him with anticipation. If the sage truly values him, the Chongxian Pavilion will also soar to new heights. Right at the moment when everyone was discussing, Gu Chen, who had been reduced to fragments, was reborn with flesh and blood. Seeing this, everyone present let out a collective sigh of relief. Only Shang Wanqing, who was Gu Chen's master, had a worried look in her eyes. Her cherry lips slightly parted, sending a voice transmission to Gu Chen. I can still hold on to the senior's test. Master, don't worry about me. Gu Chen, who was reborn once again, had a determined gaze. He lifted his head straight up, looking toward the figure high above the 9 heavens, shining like a great sun. The test of a saint, is it? Don't underestimate me. Not even a second later, it exploded again. Are you guys clowns being tested? Listening to the discussions of the powerful figures below the mysterious realm, you shake your head. I just wanted to give it a try. To see the composition of the fated protagonist. Your gaze randomly falls down again and again. If it doesn't work, it shatters once more. Clink, clink, clink. The fate value of the fated protagonist decreased by 3,000 points. You obtained the Destiny treasure chest. In just a matter of minutes, the system kept sending notifications one after another. If after the third time Gu Chang was stared to death, there would be no more Destiny treasure chests to obtain. There would only be notifications about Gu Chang's Destiny value decreasing. In your eyes, Gu Chang's Destiny value has already dropped to 90,000. This protagonist with a destined fate has an incredibly thick health bar. At the same time, you have also started forming some conclusions in your mind. You want to truly kill Gu Chang. It's highly likely that you'll need to reset the fate value to make it happen. But even when things have reached this point, you assume Gu Cheng definitely has the ability to escape when faced with a desperate situation. The reason why the other party hasn't fled yet is because they don't know who they are. And they've also misunderstood your intentions, thinking this is some kind of test. Then, your eyes fall on the tree of nature on Gu Chen. Lift your arm. Clench your palm. Suddenly, this tree glowing with green light falls right into your palm. A sacred tier treasure. No wonder then at this moment, the system sends another message. Ding, you have seized the ultimate treasure of the destined protagonist and received 5 destiny treasure chests. You sense the new message delivered by the system, suddenly burst into laughter. Another destiny treasure chest has appeared, and there are 5 of them. Seizing the protagonist's ultimate treasure is even more unbearable than killing him. You glanced at Gu Cheng, who had just been revived, stunned and frozen in place. After losing this natural divine tree, the destiny value plummeted by 15,000 points instantly. At that moment, you realized what was going on. Why did the system strongly recommend this earlier? To completely crush and torment the protagonist of destiny. Because the greater the blow to the protagonist of destiny, the more the antagonist will gain. This definitely aligns with the law of conservation of energy. If my guess is correct, even if the natural divine technique is lost, if I kill Gu Cheng now, he would still find a way to survive. System, it seems you're right about this. There's little point in killing him. It's unnecessary to take his life. Your heart is as clear as a mirror. A single finger pressed down effortlessly. In an instant, a massive golden pillar erupted from the sky, radiating an overwhelming power, bearing down on Gu Chen. Gu Chen, completely stunned after losing the treasured artifact, then collapsed weakly and died. Ding, you have seized the protagonist's rare treasure, the frost armor and the azure feather divine sword. Hearing the system notification, a faint smile appears on your face. Both treasures are of the holy tier. They're nothing but scrap metal to me. There's not much point in killing him. What's the matter this time? The protagonist of destiny is just my little cash cow. I can harvest whenever I want. Why would I care about the meaning behind it? Your gaze suddenly sharpens. All the treasures on Gu Chen have already been completely taken. But after crushing him once again, that faint trace you sensed, the obscure and hard to understand red aura, suddenly became more intense. Under the nourishment of the red aura that only you can see, Gu Chen was resurrected once more. This time, a small red door within Gu Chen's body trembled violently. What followed was his agonizing scream echoing across the sky. Seeing this scene unfold, everyone felt a deep sense of fear and unease. It was absolutely tragic. The test from this sage was dangerously challenging. At the same time, you also received 10 destiny treasure chests. The system is notifying you to decide whether to open a 10 draw. The 10 draw guarantees at least one golden legendary item. A golden item is guaranteed in the 10 draw. Hearing this, you felt a surge of joy in your heart. You started drawing immediately. As the destiny chest opened, a huge pile of items suddenly appeared in your divine sea, stacked layer upon layer. Holy class techniques piled up like a mountain. In this 10 draw, most of it turned out to be things with little value. What caught your attention was, aside from that massive pile of toilet paper in your divine sea, 3 glowing orbs floated in solitude. 2 were purple and 1 was golden. Your eyes first focused on one of the purple orbs. As you kept your gaze on it, the light began to fade away, revealing a diamond-shaped purple crystal. It was a fragment of destiny. A sudden realization struck your heart. The moment you saw the fragment of destiny, you immediately understood how to unlock the divine identity. 10 destiny fragments can be combined to create one destiny key. A destiny key can be used to unlock a god-level identity. If you want to unlock it, then you'll need more destiny chests. In other words, you'll have to exploit the destiny protagonists more. A purple light orb represents a hidden quest card. Completing it can significantly reduce the destiny protagonist's massive destiny value, and you'll earn generous rewards. Hidden quest card. There's something like this. You raise an eyebrow. You set this card aside for now. Then you turn your attention to the final golden light cluster. This must be the guaranteed legendary pull from the 10 draw. This one falls under the special category. The information about the ultimate deities universal origin symbol is instantly understood by you. The universal origin symbol has no combat abilities, but it possesses unparalleled insight. It allows you to gain insight into treasures of a level even higher than your own. After reading the introduction, you glance downward. Gu Chen, who had just been revived, suddenly thought of something, immediately activating the Mother Rune of all things. In an instant, the rune on the Mother Rune of all things lit up brightly, emitting a void-like light visible only to you, enveloping Gu Chen. Let me uncover the golden finger of this protagonist of destiny, the Eternal Gate. At this moment, Gu Chen, having gone through several reincarnations, the defiance on his face had completely disappeared, replaced by an overwhelming sense of pain. Just in the blink of an eye, he lost everything except the Eternal Gate. All of his most treasured possessions were gone, vanished in an instant without a trace. But soon he seemed to realize something. His gaze turned resolute once again. The door is still here. Is this some kind of illusionary trial? This sage senior doesn't seem all that impressive after all. It's still the same old routine as always. This kind of trial, I am not afraid of it at all. The moment the treasure vanished, he relied on his vast experience to determine that he hadn't truly lost the treasure at this moment, but had unknowingly fallen into an illusion. Gu Chen was very confident in his judgment, because during his past adventures, he had encountered this kind of illusion test more than once. The most important reason is that even a sage could never imagine he holds an enormous secret. Understanding this, Gu Chen couldn't help but want to laugh. Figuring out how to pass this kind of test, he has his own set of insights. The key is to act. Act out the feeling of despair that comes from pain, grief, and helplessness, when the timing feels just about right. As long as you hold on to your true self in desperate situations, facing your true self head on, you can often earn recognition. And then at the critical final moment, taking the initiative to expose the truth behind the illusion will make it easy to gain the favor of the strong and win the admiration of powerful individuals. Gu Chen pondered in his heart, planning to wait a few more minutes. The gaze should gradually become radiant, reveal a hint of determination. And within the few minutes Gu Chen was pondering, the Mother Rune of all things had already finished its insight. The Eternal Gate is akin to an ultimate imperial weapon of origin. This gate is the source of the profound realm. It shares the lifespan of the heavens and earth. It is connected to the fate of the profound realm. Its holder receives great fortune enhancements, sharing eternity with the Eternal Gate. Seeing this, you couldn't help but feel completely stunned. The protagonist truly lives up to the role of being the main character. Even the cheat ability is unbelievably powerful. Not only does it grant immortality with the Eternal Gate, it also bestows immense luck and fortune. This explains why Gu Chen can always turn danger into opportunity, and why he keeps growing stronger. After uncovering Gu Chen's cheat ability, you couldn't help but feel a twinge of fear deep inside. It's a good thing you came prepared with your system to gain the upper hand first. Gu Chen, as a protagonist blessed by fate, holds the Eternal Gate with absolute confidence. For a villain like me, it should be a piece of cake to handle this. I can control it however I want. But this Eternal Gate clearly holds even greater secrets. This gate is undoubtedly extraordinary. No, this object is far too valuable. Gu Chen, with his overly idealistic nature, cannot possibly manage this properly. I need to figure out a way to safeguard the Eternal Gate for Gu Chen. So, you consult the mother symbol of all things to find out how Gu Chen can sever his connection with the Eternal Gate. The symbol of all things fell silent for a moment, slowly recalling. The destiny value has dropped to 0. Is the destiny value reset to 0? You gaze at Gu Chen. Then you immediately used the card you just had without hesitation. Hidden Mission. The hidden mission was successfully issued. Gu Chen secretly developed feelings for his master Shang Guanqing, feeling a sense of admiration for her. Complete the task of winning over the heroine Shang Guanqing within 1 month. Successfully intercept the opportunity. The higher the completion rate, the greater the rewards. The more thoroughly you complete it, the more generous the rewards will be. You look at the details of this hidden mission. Your gaze shifts downward. Among the crowd stands a stunning woman dressed in a black robe. Her curvaceous figure is absolutely captivating. There's a playful glint in her eyes. Her cultivation level is decent enough. At the later stage of the King realm, among the onlooking experts of the mystic world, they all stood out prominently, standing out as the task notification was received. You noticed an even more intriguing scene. You realized that even under such torment, Gu Chen, even in such a moment, his gaze would still secretly glance in the direction of the woman in black, deliberately turned his newly reborn body in the opposite direction, as if not wanting his disgrace to be noticed by her. The leading lady, Shang Wancheng. Oh, a master and apprentice roleplay. Truly worthy of being the destined protagonist. Even better at this than I, the villain. Heh, but now that I'm here. Gu Chang, stop daydreaming. After all, winning over the protagonist's woman is also part of the villain's duties. Then you walked away with a faint smile. Golden light descended grandly from the heavens. Seeing the strong figure revealed as the great light began to fade, everyone's eyes showed astonishment. Most people assumed you would appear as a frail and aged individual. It was completely unexpected that your true saintly form would be so extraordinary, like an unparalleled noble young master. And at this moment, Gu Chen, who was kneeling on the ground, lifted his head and saw a familiar face. His heart trembled. This illusion created by Chu Feng is truly well thought out. Even Chu Feng himself was conjured up in this illusion. What else could be expected? Gu Chen immediately recognized your appearance, even though he was confident it was an illusion. Yet you felt Gu Chen's gaze at this moment, and you simply cast a casual glance at him. Worthless trash, worthless trash. How dare you call me worthless trash? Even knowing it was an illusion, being mocked by a sworn enemy stung. Gu Chen's anger kept climbing higher and higher. But before he could calm down, he was instantly torn to pieces by an invisible force, and his body was shattered into fragments. After finishing everything, you casually strolled around. Under the stunned gazes of everyone around, you walked past Gu Chen and headed toward the main hall where Shang Wancheng was. Near the main hall, besides Shang Wancheng, there were also some elders from the Chongxin Pavilion, who saw you approaching them. Even if you did nothing at all, the invisible aura alone made their bodies stiff, and they were unable to move. Elder Jiang, on the other hand, nervously opened his mouth. If he didn't mishear just now, he seemed to have caught the words useless one. Oh no, could it be that the test wasn't passed? At this moment, you gaze at Shang Wancheng, silently thinking to yourself that she truly deserves to be the heroine. Her beauty is undeniably stunning. This sage seems to be looking for me, an unparalleled being of supreme power. Gazing at Shang Wancheng with a faint trace of panic in her phoenix-like eyes, he quickly composed himself. Maintaining a calm and respectful tone, he said, "Senior, what guidance do you have for me?" Hearing this, you smiled warmly, politely said, "Could you do me a favor?" Shang Wancheng was stunned and offered to help. This is a sage. Do you need someone as insignificant as me, a mere king? What kind of help do you need? You must be joking, Senior. If there's something I can handle, I will give it my all. Seeing the other party fall for the hidden ruse, you stood under the puzzled gaze of the crowd. With a calm smile, he said, "That's good. It's not really a big deal. Starting from today, would you consider being my partner in life?" As soon as these words were spoken, Shang Wancheng was completely stunned. He wants me to become his life partner. But this is only our first meeting. Who proposes marriage the moment they meet someone? Is he seriously not joking? And you know how to leave people speechless. But you just don't care. The reason for doing this is very straightforward. This hidden mission, in your opinion, doesn't require you to spend too much time on it. The gap between you and Shang Wancheng is even bigger than what the powerful figures of the mystic realm imagined. An emperor, a king. In a normal situation, a king wouldn't even be qualified to speak in front of you. Asking a great emperor to shamelessly lower themselves and rack their brains trying to win over a king. Does that seem realistic even though you don't care much about prestige? You always prioritize efficiency. And what if a new chosen protagonist suddenly appears and walks all over you the way you humiliated Gu Chen? Wouldn't that mean you're doomed? At this moment, Gu Chen, who had just recovered, hearing these words, his body couldn't stop trembling. Having his master guide him on the path, this illusion is becoming more and more ridiculous. Bowing to Shang Wancheng as his mentor, being taught by Shang Wancheng, with gentle guidance, a seed of affection had already taken root in his heart. Now seeing his mortal enemy not only had become a powerful sage, he even suggested making his admired master his Tao companion, to have his master become his cultivation partner. How could this be possible? This is all just a test. I am still inside an illusion. This was the only reasonable explanation Gu Chen could think of. Meanwhile, those present saw that your expression remained calm and composed. Elder Jiang immediately realized the truth. I understand now. This senior sage has indeed come to find a successor. And then, right away, they chose Gu Chun from our Chongxian pavilion. It's a shame that Gu Chun didn't live up to expectations. He failed to catch the attention of the revered sage. As soon as these words were spoken, the other elders seemed to be lost in thought. Indeed, it seemed like the sage was very dissatisfied with Gu Chun just now. He even bluntly called him useless. But someone couldn't help but ask right away. But what does this have to do with the pavilion master? Elder Jiang gently stroked his silver-white beard, confidently sharing his own judgment. Although Gu Chen didn't take a liking to it. Our Zhongshuan pavilion is a place full of exceptional talent. Naturally, the sage has taken an interest in the pavilion master. With the pavilion master's status and level, being a disciple might seem a bit inappropriate. But logically, it actually makes the most sense. Hearing him say that, everyone suddenly seemed to realize it. It must be like this. The two of them are truly a perfect match. They are just so fitting for each other. Hearing this, you couldn't help but laugh to yourself. These people really have a knack for imagining things. Then your gaze remained calm. Looking at the stunning beauty in front of you, you asked unhurriedly how Master Qin had considered the matter. Shangguan Qin slightly furrowed her brows. Speaking softly, the sage. This matter is far too sudden. Allow me to think it over carefully. With his usual personality, he should have been angry. But perhaps because of you, the sage. Your strength is truly intimidating. And your attitude is exceptionally sincere. Most importantly, you're also very attractive. So he didn't develop any resentment. Instead, he fell into deep thought. However, Elder Jiang, who was not far away, grew anxious. He immediately sent a voice transmission saying, "What are you hesitating for? The pavilion master, this is a sage-level figure. If you agree to this, it might just change the fate of the Shangguan family." Shangguan Qing gently shook her head upon hearing this, but did not respond. Defy the heavens and alter destiny. Of course, he had thought about it. Since the establishment of the Zhongshuan pavilion, the tragic fate of the Shangguan family has lasted for generations. He had long accepted his fate. But if a sage were to lend a hand, he would likely have a chance to change his destiny. The problem, however, lies in the fact that he has no idea about the origins of this sage. If he were to rashly agree, let alone changing his destiny, maybe even the entire Zhongshuan pavilion might be at stake. As the pavilion master, this is something he absolutely cannot tolerate. Seeing Shangguan Sheng hesitate, it's not surprising at all. Proposing marriage out of the blue for no reason. Anyone would need to think it over. This is a fantasy world. A harsh world where the strong prey on the weak and resources reign supreme. Sincerity is always the ultimate weapon. With this in mind, you slowly start to speak. Oh, right, as a gesture of sincerity. I have prepared 100 pounds of saint-level cultivation techniques as a betrothal gift. After saying that, you casually waved your hand. Suddenly a huge pile of colorful objects appeared like a small mountain. It crashed heavily onto the ground in front of the palace. Seeing this scene, the elders of Chongxian Pavilion who were standing nearby all cried out in astonishment one after another. Holy Heaven's Boundless Heart Sutra saint-level technique. Heaven-shattering sword technique. Sacred tier swordsmanship. Cycle of mountains and seas. Oh my gosh, it's still sacred tier. How is this even possible? Help cries of shock echoed through the skies. And you didn't make any effort to conceal these sacred tier techniques. So they only needed a quick inspection to figure out exactly what these things were. At that moment, someone recalled your casual remark from earlier. 100 pounds, oh my gosh. Is the unit pounds used to describe a holy rank cultivation technique? In the mystic realm, having just one saint-level technique is enough to establish a powerful faction. With a saint-level cultivation method, you can create a major force in the mystic realm, attracting numerous powerful leaders to join. The reason Chongxian Pavilion holds such a transcendent position in the mystic realm. A big part of the reason is that they possess not one but two complete saint-level cultivation techniques. It's precisely because they have not just one but two entire saint-tier cultivation methods. And now this saint has prepared a dowry for Shangguan Chang. A full 100 pounds. It's not calculated step by step. It's measured by weight. Using such an outrageous unit of measurement is usually reserved for the most useless and basic cabbage-level techniques. When did saint-level techniques start being measured by weight? Who exactly is this sage? Shang Wanqin still disagrees. My looks aren't bad either. Can I give it a try? Everyone here, whether male or female, young and old alike, heartbeats racing, eyes fixed on you. All the elders of the Chongxian pavilion staring directly at you, then glancing at Shang Wanqin. They were on the verge of losing their minds. Why is the pavilion master still standing there in a daze? Just agree already. If you don't agree soon, they'll probably help you agree themselves. This illusionary realm is seriously unbelievable. This is truly out of this world. Gu Chen stared blankly at the pile of saint-level techniques. He was frozen in place, lost in thought. When he saw this small mountain-like heap, a surge of greed rose in his heart. He wished he could store it all in his divine sea. But he quickly realized, this was definitely a trap. The entire Xian realm. It's impossible to have so many saint-level techniques. This is yet another test for me. He pressed his lips together and clenched his teeth. He stared intently at these saint-level techniques, thinking arrogantly about Shang Wancheng. Is this all there is? The new master might not agree to this. As for Shang Wancheng, she was indeed stunned by your domineering attitude. Just as she was about to say something, but it was suddenly interrupted. It seems the sincerity still isn't enough. As you say this, you wave your hand again. Immediately, next to the original small hill, 2 more small hills appeared out of nowhere, adding a full 200 pounds of sacred level techniques. If 100 pounds of sacred level techniques left everyone completely stunned, then the 200 pounds of sacred level techniques you threw out directly left everyone feeling utterly overwhelmed. Oh my gosh, who exactly is this saint? So domineering and terrifying. This is a full 300 pounds. Any saint-level technique in the mystic realm would cause chaos and bloodshed. But how is it that in this saint's hands, it feels as common as cheap toilet paper? Master of the pavilion, think bigger. Don't hesitate anymore. Hurry up and agree. Today is the day our Chongxian pavilion takes off. The pavilion master needs to seize this opportunity. It happened almost in an instant. Nearly all the elders of Chongxian pavilion immediately sent a voice transmission to Shang Wanqing without any hesitation, telling him to agree right away. Elders with a bit of perspective understand. With the capabilities of this saint, if they get upset, they could easily destroy the entire Chongxian pavilion. At this moment, Shang Wanqing completely lost all sense of reason. A full 300 pounds of cultivation techniques appeared right before his eyes. If one were to agree, the tragic fate of the Shangwan clan could really come to an end with him. Thinking of this, his chest heaved. Immediately, he said to you, honored by your gracious recognition, I am willing to agree. But I have one condition. Hearing this, you raised an eyebrow. Some unpleasantness occurred. Even a little champion has requirements. Elder Jiang and the others were stunned when they heard what Shang Wanqin said. They almost lost their minds too. Master, please don't make a foolish decision. Why bring up conditions at a time like this? Angering the sage would only mean all efforts were in vain. Considering the mission, you gave Shang Wancheng one last chance. You offered Shang Wanqing a final opportunity. Speak then. Shang Wancheng slightly bowed and addressed the sage. I am nothing more than someone with ordinary qualities. I am not worthy to be a companion of a sage, especially considering the depth of Senior's foundation. It seems they are far beyond just being a sage. I am willing to be a concubine for the senior. If the senior permits it, I will agree to become this senior's concubine. No one could have expected that Shang Wanqin would propose such a condition. Even the elders were stunned. A concubine holds the most insignificant status in the mortal world. It's merely a title. It's not comparable to being a Dao companion at all. A Dao companion is akin to being the lawful wife. Has Shang Wanqing lost her mind? She refuses to be the senior's Dao companion, and instead chooses to become a concubine. Even you seemed a little surprised. There was a hint of admiration in your eyes. But I agreed to it. Shang Wanqing heard this. A faint smile appeared on her lips. Her beauty was breathtaking. At that moment, the system also sent a notification sound rang out. Successfully completed the strategy for the female lead, Shang Wanqing. Destiny points decreased by 20,000. The hidden task was completed. Current completion rate reached 100%. Is the reward being settled? Hearing this, you nod in satisfaction. Just as you were about to click to settle, a voice suddenly echoed in your ear. I disagree. Gu Chen was completely panicking. This illusion is ridiculously absurd. To provoke him, they even forced his master, a traditionally reserved woman, to marry his mortal enemy, even forcibly creating several £100 worth of sacred-level techniques. It's absolutely ridiculous. Gu Chen admitted it. This situation truly got to him, even though he knew it was an illusion. But seeing the woman he admired in his heart, such an intense desire to possess, completely infuriated him, even if it was just a test of humiliation. No one humiliates in such a way. He knows this very well. If he keeps suppressing himself like this, he might end up trapped in an illusion and completely fail. The key to breaking through might not be acting like a ninja turtle, facing his true self, and boldly saying no, is just as important. So at this moment, Gu Chen chose to stand up, did what a man is supposed to do. Shang Wanqing can only be his. Gu Chen, who do you think you are? Step aside, just a mere disciple. How dare you meddle in something like this? Such boldness. Do you have a death wish? After realizing it was Gu Chen, immediately, many elders sternly reprimanded. At the same time, the system sent another notification. The actions of the fated protagonist have angered the members of the Xian Pavilion. Lost the trust of the Xian Pavilion. Fate value decreased by 5,000 points. Received a fate treasure chest. The actions of the fated protagonist made the heroine Shang Wanqing feel displeased. Fate value decreased by 5,000 points. Received a fate treasure chest. You were watching the system panel with great interest, observing the messages that popped up. Wow, another 10,000 points. And also got 2 destiny chests. But to be honest, even you were surprised by Gu Chen's reaction. This destiny protagonist gives me the feeling of a kind of flawed brilliance. Wasn't he pretty good at staying low before? Why does he suddenly seem so impatient? And you didn't express any opinion. You just calmly watched Gu Chen continue his performance. The more passionately he performed, the more severely the destiny value plummeted. Gu Chen was reprimanded by the elder. He felt a pang of frustration. He paid no attention to the tools in the illusion. Instead, he loudly declared again, I am against this. Then he looked straight at Shang Wanqing and the elders, and shouted, proposing marriage at the very first meeting. Is this appropriate? Someone as proud as the master? How could he possibly agree to be a concubine? This is truly ridiculous. His words made the elders' expressions change completely. Young folks are just too short-sighted. In the mystic realm, there are some major clans and sects. They get engaged without even meeting each other. And yet no one has ever backed out of an engagement. Proposing marriage on the first meeting. What's the matter, Gu Chen? Shut your filthy mouth for me. The saintly senior never once forced the pavilion master from beginning to end. Even brought out such sincere intentions. Isn't that enough? Elder Jiang glared angrily at Gu Chen. Gu Chen let out a cold laugh. He turned his gaze toward Shang Wanqing. Sincerity based on these sheets of toilet paper. How could my master care about such material things? Standing nearby, Shang Wanqing stared intently at Gu Chen. Finally, she couldn't hold back and spoke up. That's enough, Gu Chen. Stop talking nonsense. You should go back and rest. Actually, Gu Chen wasn't entirely wrong about one thing. Speaking from personal interest, he honestly didn't want to agree to marry someone he had only met once. But he wasn't alone in this. To become the leader of Chongshan Pavilion, Shang Wanqing was not completely clueless. Behind his innocent facade stood the Chongshan Pavilion, still carrying the weight of the Shangwan family's destiny. The heaviness of these things isn't something someone as young as Gu Chen can understand. As long as the stakes are high enough, and it doesn't cross any boundaries, many things can be used in exchange. These sacred level techniques aren't just scraps of paper. They are supreme treasures capable of changing the history of the mysterious realm. This is 300 pounds. Enough to make Shang Wanqing willingly agree to become a concubine. Because he understands very well. Being able to casually take out a saint-level technique weighing 300 pounds is unworthy of being the other person's companion. Even becoming a concubine might be considered an overreach. If he shamelessly takes the position of this person's partner, it could lead to endless troubles in the future. That's why he took the initiative to propose it. These things, the elders of Hongxian Pavilion are all well aware. And Shang Wanqing originally thought Gu Chen was such an outstanding genius. This should be understandable as well. Totally unexpected. Turned out to be so immature. He felt a bit disappointed. Gu Chen heard this and felt a chill in his heart, yet stood his ground without retreating an inch. Master, I know you are considering the interests of Zhongshuan Pavilion, but regarding this matter, forget it, I won't argue with a mere illusion. As his gaze shifted suddenly, he looked at you and said loudly, Senior, this farce should come to an end. Enjoying the drama to its fullest. Suddenly hearing Gu Chen call your name, you narrowed your eyes slightly, feeling a bit stunned. Isn't one illusion test enough? Do you really have to create these disgusting things? To mess with my state of mind? Did you think taking everything I have would completely break me? Do you think my mindset will collapse because of that? It absolutely won't. I just find this kind of thing incredibly boring. If you insist on continuing this way, then I must decline to accompany you any further. Gu Cheng's eyes turned red, speaking each word clearly and deliberately. His tone carried a coldness with an undercurrent of rhythm. The illusion caused his mindset to shatter. So that's how it is. No wonder the reaction to seeing me wasn't very strong. There were even several occasions where he held back from exploding. After all this time, he thought he was in some kind of illusion, truly worthy of being the protagonist of destiny. His imagination really knows no bounds. Gu Chen's self-destruction this time finally gave you insight into how his mind works. If that's the case, then don't blame me if I make you shoot yourself. Your lips curled into a smirk right after, deliberately leading Gu Cheng on. So that's how it is. You just said I took everything away from you. Then according to what you're saying, Shangguan Chang is your woman. It seems I misunderstood your words. The moment it happened, it was like a massive stone dropping into a calm lake. Everyone was shocked. What does that mean? Could it be that Gu Cheng has feelings for his master? How could Gu Cheng dare to do that? If the sage misunderstands this, things could get really troublesome. Could the pavilion master actually have something going on with Gu Cheng? Pavilion master, why aren't you saying anything? We must make sure the senior doesn't misunderstand. Shangguan Cheng's flawless face slightly changed at this moment. Feng couldn't believe his eyes as he looked at Gu Cheng. Based on what the senior meant, just now when he stepped forward to cause trouble, it turned out it was because he had feelings for me. But I am his master. Shangguan Cheng felt a chill in her heart. In the world of cultivation between master and disciple, if something like this were to happen, it would be a shocking scandal. If word got out, his reputation across the entire Xian realm would be completely ruined. Even though he doesn't care much about his reputation. But at this moment, Gu Cheng stepped forward. If this is really the reason, then it shows there was absolutely no consideration for him. Yet even so, Shangguan Cheng still remained silent. She suppressed her emotions and stared directly at Gu Chen. Gu Chen noticed that all eyes in the room were on him. He straightened his chest and declared with confidence that he admired his master. And the master also has feelings for me. Since you can already see through this situation, senior, why bother testing me with such matters? His response was firm and resolute, decisive and straightforward. As soon as those words were spoken, it immediately caused a stir among the crowd. This Gu Chen must be tired of living, thinking he could brush it off by calling it an illusion. Does this mean you can just talk nonsense whenever you want? What if the senior actually believes this? It could ruin this happy occasion. Even grinding Gu Chen's bones 100 times wouldn't be enough. Elder Jiang was so anxious he was practically jumping up and down. The senior has lost his mind. Don't believe his nonsense. Lord, you need to explain this quickly. Upon hearing this, Shangguan Cheng's stunning face turned icy cold. I never expected Gu Chen to say something like that. He felt very disappointed. Shangguan Cheng ignored Gu Chen. Instead, she turned to you and said, "We are simply a teacher-student pair." After hearing this, you nodded. You understood how to handle it. Take care of it yourself. I will not interfere. Upon hearing these words, Shangguan Cheng, his chest rose and fell. He understood that this was an opportunity given to him by his senior. If the matter with Gu Cheng wasn't resolved perfectly, then it wouldn't just be as simple as ruining a marriage. The consequences would be unimaginable. So he turned around and walked toward Gu Yan. The next moment there was a loud smack. Gu Yan took a solid slap across the face. He spun like a top from the force. Starting today, Gu Yan, you and I are no longer master and disciple. Nangong Qing's eyes were icy cold. Every word was as sharp as a blade, piercing straight into Gu Yan's heart. After speaking, he didn't pay any attention to Gu Yan. Instead, he turned to look at the other people in Chongxian Pavilion, publicly declaring that Gu Yan had committed treason, offending the revered sages, and defying the rules of Chongxian Pavilion. Expelled from the Chongxian Pavilion today. Imprisoned at the Yuming Cliff. Execution set for 300 years later. Elder Jiang personally escorted the prisoner. Elder Jiang, upon hearing this, quickly responded with compliance. The pavilion master observed the situation. The elders of Chongxian Pavilion collectively let out a sigh of relief. Truly deserving of the title Pavilion Master. Clear-headed at crucial moments. So decisive. It seems enough to earn forgiveness from the senior. After Nangong Qin made her announcement, she walked up to you and explained, Senior, Yuming Cliff is the most terrifying punishment site of our Chongxian Pavilion. Considering Gu Yan's offense towards you, simply killing him would be far too lenient for him. Moreover, there's something strange about him. He might not even die completely. One must endure the hardships of the Nether Cliff to completely eliminate it. You saw Nangong Qin being so resolute, and simply smiled and said it was fine. Seeing you speak like that, Nangong Qin let out a sigh of relief, but still didn't dare to let her guard down, not knowing if his actions would meet your expectations. And at the moment everything was decided, the system sent another notification. The destined protagonist has severed ties with the knight Nangong Qing. Destiny value decreased by 5,000 points. The destined protagonist has been expelled from the Chongxian Pavilion. Destiny value decreased by another 5,000 points. Obtain a destiny chest. Due to the protagonist of Destiny severing ties with Nangong Qing. Hidden quest strategy to win over Nangong Qing. Completion rate with Nangong Qing increased by 50%. Current completion rate is 150%. Is the reward being settled? Following Nangong Qin's actions, Gu Yan's destiny points plummeted by another 10,000, leaving only 45,000 points remaining. 2 more destiny treasure chests have been added. To be honest, you're quite satisfied with Nangong Qin's handling of the situation. But you're also fully aware that Gu Yan still has plenty of destiny points. Nangong Qin imprisoned Gu Yan in the so-called Nether Cliff, which might very likely grant him another opportunity. Maybe there's a chance to make a narrow escape. Of course, you don't really care. Your goal is already crystal clear. It's to get your hands on the Eternal Gate first. Then take out Gu Yan. The destiny value won't reset to 0. Even if Nangong Qin decides to execute Gu Yan on the spot, it won't make a difference. So what you're concerned about now is the strategy. The hidden quest related to Nangong Qin. But what you never saw coming. Achieving 100% completion isn't actually the highest level. It can actually go up to 150%. What's the highest completion rate for the system's hidden tasks? The system immediately responded, respectfully host, it's 300%, 300%. So this must be the real worth of hidden tasks. You decisively chose not to settle the score. At this moment, Gu Yan had just landed, and immediately turned into a puddle of flesh. Before he could even react, a fierce blood-red wind swept through. I told you to change the lens. I asked you to switch the lens. The elderly Elder Jiang was holding a massive black stone monument, like carrying a large slab, and started smashing it wildly at Gu Yan. Bang bang bang, I used to show you respect. Did you really think you were someone important? What a disgraceful thing. Amid a wild beating, the screams instantly filled the sky. The cold and ruthless demeanor of Nangong Qin, the elder's mercilessness, the intense pain that came both physically and mentally, made Gu Yan feel like he was about to lose his mind. Right now, he could do nothing but wail in misery. There was absolutely nothing else he could do. Master would never treat me so heartlessly. The appearance of a saint. How could they possibly be my mortal enemy? Chu Feng was certain this was an illusion. Even if it had come to this point, he still firmly believed it was an illusion. He was convinced that he was still in an illusion no matter what. From beginning to end, you kept a faint smile on your face, quietly observing Gu Yan's demise, because you realized the protagonist of Destiny didn't require you to step in. The fallen destiny value decreased even faster. A scene like this, you are more than happy to see this. The Chongxian Pavilion is really doing things right. This kind of beating for Gu Yan clearly looks like they're venting your anger. What matters the most? These elders obviously aren't fools either. It seems they've already noticed the issue with Gu Yan. Anyone being attacked like this, no matter how many tricks they have up their sleeve, It's hard to believe a health bar could be this thick. There must be some big secret about Gu Yan. They can't see things as clearly as I can. Uncovering the eternal gate within Gu Yan is beyond their grasp. But would these elders not have any schemes in mind? What follows next? Even if Gu Yan is imprisoned in the so-called absolute nether cliff, he still wouldn't find peace. By now, Gu Yan is barely breathing. He's hanging by a thread. Senior, I'll escort Gu Yan to Yuming Cliff first. Elder Jiang nodded immediately. He sought your approval on this matter. He casually took out a piece of white cloth and wrapped the mashed-up Gu Yan with it. Clouds formed under his feet, and he turned into a streak of light, then swiftly left the scene. Nangong Qingjian sent Gu Yan away, the only troublemaker in the situation. He softly said to you, Senior, sorry for letting you witness the joke. You smiled gently and replied, it's all right. The bond between us has already been set. You don't need to call me Senior anymore. Just call me husband instead. He respectfully said with an apologetic tone, husband. All right, my husband. If you don't mind, please rest in the Chongxian Pavilion for now. As for our wedding date. Speaking of this, Nangong Qin shyly pressed her lips together. Hearing this, you waved your hand. No rush. You weren't genuinely interested in Nangong Qin. It was just a task after all. At this moment, a female elder quickly said that the saint must be joking. This concerns your reputation. I will invite all the forces of the profound realm as soon as possible. Choose an auspicious day and time to complete the ceremonies. Hearing this, Nangong Qin lowered her head. A faint blush appeared on her face for no apparent reason. The ceremonies were so grand they were overwhelming. Your heart was moved for a moment. Nodding slightly, this reminded you of something. About how to further increase the completion rate of the hidden mission. You now had a clearer judgment in your mind. At this moment, another passerby elder came forward. He warmly said that it would trouble the saint. Please rest first at Chongxian Pavilion. So, under the guidance of several elders, you arrived at the residence where Nangong Qing stayed. The next morning, several managing elders gathered together. Their expressions were serious. Elder Jiang was seated at the main seat, and he cleared his throat. Extremely serious. Regarding the matter of Gu Yan, what do you all think should be done? Elder Sun, with his kind and gentle demeanor, immediately nodded in agreement. Although Gu Yan is a genius in the sect, he actually dared to harbor improper intentions toward the sect leader. This is absolutely forbidden. And his words received the agreement of the other elders. If the sage hadn't taken an interest in Nangong Qing, well, that's one thing. But now the sage is about to take Nangong Qing as his concubine. If Gu Yan is allowed to stay, it will undoubtedly become a major threat. Gu Yan is hiding some secrets. Everyone here should already know that. Elder Su, you are tasked with entering the Nether Cliff. Interrogate him personally to uncover the secrets, and then execute Gu Yan. Elder Su nodded in agreement without hesitation. Leave it to me to handle. After speaking, Elder Jiang then turned to look at another chubby elder nearby. We must eliminate the problem completely. Even though Gu Yan comes from an ordinary background, we still can't leave any potential risks behind. Elder Zhang, I'd like to trouble you with this. Please personally make a trip to the Xiaozhu realm. Erase the Gu family as well. Elder Zhang readily nodded in agreement. You are in a quiet room. Sensing this scene, you give a slight smile. Those elders of Chongxian Pavilion really know how to be considerate. And 2 days later, the Gu family in Wucheng, including the city lord Gu Changyun, all 172 members were completely wiped out. Upon hearing the news, you contentedly sipped your tea. These elders sure are pretty efficient. But just as the words were spoken, your gaze shifted in an instant. You managed to escape. Truly worthy of being the protagonist of destiny. Even in dangerous situations, you can turn things around. And not only survive but also seize opportunities. This method of spatial teleportation is something that at least a great saint can perform. If I were really just an ordinary saint, I'm afraid there's really nothing that can be done to stop him. A faint smile appeared at the corner of your lips. There was a hint of a carefree and nonchalant attitude about you. Under the expansive coverage of the divine sense across the land, everything happening within the Chongxian Pavilion was entirely within your perception. Naturally, this included Gu Yan, who had just managed to escape. If you were willing, you could effortlessly capture Gu Yan right away. But there was no need for that. What you need is the destiny chest. After studying it for the past few days, you have come to understand. Simply defeating Gu Yen no longer yields any benefits. Let him jump around a little more before he gets any results. It wasn't easy to escape. Why not hurry up and leave? Still heading towards Chongming Palace. Is the idea to meet Nangong Qin? Gu Yen, oh Gu Yen. Should I call you devoted? Or just plain foolish? There's a hint of mockery in your eyes. This Gu Yen is the epitome of a hot-blooded young protagonist destined for greatness? Impulsive and reckless, arrogant and self-willed. These are all fatal flaws. Well, there's something that needs to be confirmed. Using you as a test subject might not be a bad idea. You sense Gu Yan's movement trajectory getting closer and closer. You stand up and walk toward the outside of the main hall. Behind the main hall for the migrant workers, a waterfall cascades down. Below, it forms a pool called the Sacred Spring of Qianxian. The Qianxian Sacred Spring is a secret realm for cultivation. It can significantly refine the physical body. Of course, it's completely useless for you. It's basically just a bathhouse. It's actually a great way to relax and unwind while taking a bath. Just as you stepped into the Sacred Spring of Qianxian, a gentle voice immediately reached your ears. Husband, may I come in? Hearing this, you casually responded. You weren't surprised that Nangong Qing showed up. In fact, every time you've come here to bathe these past few days, Nangong Chang would always come to serve you on her own. Before long, through the mist, a graceful figure could be seen walking slowly. A pair of delicate hands gently rested on your shoulders, softly massaging with a slow and tender motion. Just like a maid serving with care, you kept your eyes closed, enjoying the service provided by Nangong Qin. Suddenly, you slowly opened your eyes, glancing upward with a calm expression. Well, you sure got here quickly. This kind of scene is definitely not for your eyes. So with a single thought, a thick fog immediately rose within the sacred spring. The mist became dense. From the outside, only two vague figures could be seen. Gu Yen, who had transformed into nothingness, used the power of the mysterious gate to silently and stealthily infiltrate Chongming Palace. He secretly searched throughout Chongming Palace for a long time, but could not find any trace of his master. Where did it go? Wait a minute, that is the Qianxian Sacred Spring. Gu Yen suddenly felt a spark in his heart. The power of the void instantly transported him outside the sacred spring. Hidden beneath the dense mist, he still managed to spot a familiar figure. The master and someone else. That guy is a man. He stared intently at the Qianxian Sacred Spring, unable to hold back the anger in his heart any longer. Suddenly let out a loud roar. The aura around him surged abruptly. How dare you betray me? You treacherous couple, prepare to die. But then he faintly heard some noises again. Gu Yen could only grit his teeth for now. He stopped the flow of spiritual energy within his body. Although he relied on the power of the mysterious gate, he didn't dare to get too close. He could only perk up his ears, curious to know what these two are actually talking about. What's wrong, husband? Nangong Qin noticed the mist growing denser. Her phoenix-like eyes showed a slight movement. She softly asked, "And you?" Kept your gaze fixed on the calm water in front of you. Casually asked if the wedding date had been set. Nangong Qin's delicate hand froze slightly. Immediately responded Elder Jiang. They have extended invitations to all factions in the Xian realm. It is tentatively scheduled for half a month later. The wedding is set to take place in half a month. In the shadows, Gu Yen overheard. His heart trembled in shock, even though he was gradually coming to terms with reality. Hearing this news now, it still felt like a heavy hammer suddenly struck his chest, leaving him in unbearable pain. You nod slightly. If you're unwilling, you can still change your mind now. Regretfully, Gu Yen clenched his fist. Master of all. He was forced into this. He must be feeling resentful, right? As long as Nangong Qin shows even the slightest hesitation, he still has a chance. Nangong Qin's voice immediately echoed. Husband, we've already come this far. What is there left to regret? How far have we come? What exactly have you all been doing these past days? Nangong Qin's voice rang out again. I chose all of this willingly. If my husband despises me, then I will give up on my own. His voice was calm but firm. He chuckled at those words. You let out a soft chuckle. You felt a slight surprise in your heart. It was easy for you to see through Nangong Qin's lies in front of you. This woman really knows how to handle things clearly. As the saying goes, a forced relationship never brings happiness. You never actually pressured Nangongqin. Everything was entirely his own choice. Under normal circumstances, your relationship lacks a foundation of affection, and it also carries a hint of coercion. It's completely normal for Nangongqin to feel unwilling or resentful deep down. But the words he just said came straight from the heart. This gives you a whole new perspective on Nangongqin. Inside, Nangongqin felt very calm. At first, he did feel a sense of reluctance, entrusting himself to a powerful stranger who he knows nothing about. The risk involved is undeniably high. But he's no longer a teenage girl who acts on impulse. Whether it's the generous betrothal gift you offered, or the crumbling demon suppression array held by the Chongxian Pavilion, or perhaps it's the fate of the Nangong clan, all of this made him fully aware. He never really had much of a choice. Besides, after spending these days together, he noticed that while you're powerful, you remain refined and approachable, and you treat him with great respect. Not to mention, you're also very attractive. What more could he possibly ask for? Hearing Nangongqin's words, so humble that they seemed to blend into the dust, Gu Yan only felt his throat go dry. A patch of green above his head. This vile person. He was filled with utter despair. It felt like a hopelessness deeper than sorrow. At that moment, the system also sent a notification. Ding, the protagonist has lost all hope for Nangongqin. Hidden quest, win over Nangongqin. Completion rate increased by 50%. The current progress is at 200%. Should the rewards be settled? Seeing the prompt on the system panel, you smile calmly. As expected, this hidden task isn't about building affection with Nangongqin, but rather using Nangongqin to torment Gu Yan. Over the past few days, you and Nangongqin have spent plenty of time building a bond, yet the progress hasn't increased at all. As soon as Gu Yan arrived, it immediately skyrocketed by 50%. Anything related to Gu Yan, the completion rate will improve. You held Nangongqin's delicate hand, pulled her from behind to in front and embraced her. Asked with a faint smile, I heard that you plan to act against the Gu family where Gu Yan comes from. Nangongqin, suddenly embraced, did not resist. Instead, she gently leaned against your chest, obedient and meek like a little deer. The elders do have the authority to make this decision. I wasn't involved. I have no idea about the specific details. Besides, I have the Gu family to think of. Gu Yan was startled. As if struck by lightning, he immediately panicked. Just as he had expected. The Gu family is in trouble. He perked up his ears, hoping to listen further. However, the two people in the holy spring pool did not continue discussing the topic. Not long after, a wave of enchanting melodies reached them. Damn, why did they stop talking? What on earth are they doing? Gu Yan's mind was in complete chaos. Even though he has a strong sense of possession, he is a traditional person. He might have had a few close female friends, but he always maintains self-discipline, and has never taken it to that level. At the moment, he has some suspicions in his heart. His eyes were wide open like brass bells, fixing his gaze downward, trying to see through the mist. But unfortunately, he couldn't. The fog was too dense. Tears uncontrollably rolled down, blurring his vision. Listening to Nangongqin's heavy breathing, Gu Yan felt his heart shatter. He clenched his teeth tightly, activated the mysterious gate and vanished from the spot. Surely because the protagonist of Destiny had a mental breakdown. The hidden quest's completion rate for conquering Nangongqin increased by 10%. The current completion rate is at 220%. Is the reward being settled? You sensed it. After Gu Yan left, raised his head to glance at the sky, smiled faintly. This eternal gate of mine seems to be quite useful. As for Gu Yan escaping from the nether cliff, it was quickly discovered by Elder Su. The entire Chongxian Pavilion was stunned upon hearing this. No one could have imagined this outcome. That Gu Yan, merely a Hualong stage cultivator, could actually find a way to escape from a deadly place like the nether cliff. What made everyone even more uneasy was, Gu Yan had offended a saint. If the saint held him accountable, the consequences would be disastrous. In less than an hour, Chongxian Pavilion issued a universal warrant in the Xian realm, exhausted every possible channel, informed all the major influential forces in the mystic realm, offered a huge reward to capture Gu Yan across the entire mystic realm. At this moment, in a remote small town on the western side of the mystic realm, Gu Yan, cloaked in a black robe, walked out of a small shop. He stared at his own wanted notice, looking visibly upset. Truly ruthless indeed. A fierce glint appeared in Gu Yan's eyes. Now he realized the trouble had become serious. Even this remote place has it. His wanted poster. If he dares to show up in any major city in the Xian realm, there's a high chance he would be captured. What's even more concerning is, the Chongxian Pavilion is very likely to target the Gu family. He has to act quickly to seize the time. Leave the mystic realm as soon as possible. Otherwise, the consequences could be unimaginable. What matters the most? The Ji family has an interdimensional teleportation array, which allows direct return to the bamboo realm. He stomped his foot, turning into a blur, and sped toward the Ji family's territory. A day later, Gu Yan quietly arrived at the Ji family's domain. He connected everything together using a secret technique. It didn't take long. A tall and graceful young man came to see him. It was none other than Ji Wenfeng from the Ji family. Brother Gu, it has been a long time. I never expected that our reunion would happen under such circumstances. Ji Wenfeng looked at Gu Yan, whose face was covered in dirt. His clothes were tattered and worn, and he felt deeply moved. Hearing this, Gu Yan still didn't feel at ease. He cautiously said, "Brother Ji, you probably know what situation I'm in right now. At the moment, I only want to use the Ji family's resources to help me secure an item that grants access to the Two Realms passage, so I can leave the Xian realm." Ji Wenfeng gave a faint smile. "Brother Gu, you once saved my life back then. Now it's only right for me to lend you a helping hand. I've already prepared an item for you. Other than that, I also gathered some recent updates from the mystic realm for you. Among them is information related to the sages. Open it only after you leave the mystic realm. Otherwise, it might be sensed by the sages." It seems he had already prepared for this. He took out an item from his chest pocket. A six-pointed star token gleaming with silver light. He handed it over, and Gu Yan was startled. His heart was deeply moved. He felt the sincerity in Ji Wenfeng's words. In the end, there are still true friends. A true brother understands everything without needing words. "I'll remember your kindness today. There will be a generous return in the future." Ji Wenfeng shook his head and said, "I help Brother Gu simply to have a clear conscience. I only seek to remain true to my conscience. The situation is dangerous right now. Let's leave for the time being. We'll meet again when the opportunity comes." Gu Yan took the six-pointed star token without hesitation. He turned around and sped toward a passage between two realms. Watching Gu Yan's figure disappear into the distance, Ji Wenfeng let out a sigh. "I never would have thought that someone so brilliant in the past would end up like this. Brother Gu, this is as far as I can help you." But just as Ji Wenfeng was lost in thought, suddenly a furious shout echoed in his ears. "You unfilial brat, I should have left you as a stain on the wall back then. Are you trying to destroy the Ji family?" He was seething with rage. He raised his large hand. The terrifying force roared like a storm. Slap! With a single palm, Ji Wenfeng was instantly smashed into a bloody pulp. Just like that, Ji Wenfeng was killed. He was struck down by his own father, Ji Kong, the head of the Ji family, with tears in his eyes. "Gu Yan, don't ever let me see you. It's all because of you, you little beast, that A1 is dead." After taking down Ji Wenfeng, Ji Kong's face was covered in tears. He roared towards the sky. Ji Wenfeng had such a gentle and humble personality. He never showed any sharpness or aggressiveness. He was always known as a nice and polite person. The entire Ji family was very fond of him. But no one ever thought that it was exactly Ji Wenfeng's personality that ultimately led him to his fatal disaster. Who exactly did Gu Yan offend? Does Ji Wenfeng, that fool, have no sense of awareness? Chongxian Pavilion is one of the top forces in the Xian realm. It has never fallen out of the top 3. The Ji family can barely make it into the top 10. Even Chongxian Pavilion can only serve as a subordinate to that saint. How could the Ji family possibly provoke such power? After Ji Kong killed Ji Wenfeng, he placed the body in a black stone coffin and carried the coffin himself, traveling 100,000 miles on foot. Arriving outside the gates of Chongxian Pavilion, "We humbly ask for the sage's judgment." Ji Kong's face was filled with sorrow. He knelt on the ground outside the mountain gate of Chongxian Pavilion. Looking up to the sky, he cried out loudly. Ji Kong made his way forward, causing quite a commotion along the way, attracting the attention of passers-by. This man is the head of the Ji family. He's a person of great importance. What is he doing? What is that he's carrying on his back? A black coffin. The sorrowful coffin arrives at Chongxian Pavilion. There must be a story behind this. Seeing this scene, many powerful figures of the mystic world turned into streaks of red light, instantly appearing in place. These are all the elders of Chongxian Pavilion. They were glaring angrily at Ji Kong. Elder Su stepped forward without hesitation and shouted angrily at Ji Kong. Your Ji family helped Gu Yan enter the passage between the two realms, allowing Gu Yan to escape from the mystic realm. This crime deserves death 1,000 times over. How do you still have the audacity to come to Chongxian Pavilion to apologize? Ji Kong looked utterly miserable and said loudly, it is all my fault for failing to teach my son properly, which led to my son committing such a grave mistake. I have personally punished him already, seeking the forgiveness of the sage. As he spoke, he waved his arm. The black coffin behind him was pulled by an immense force. With a loud boom, it crashed onto the ground outside the entrance of the Chongxian Pavilion, creating a deep pit upon impact. The matter inside this coffin. The elders of the Chongxian Pavilion glanced at the coffin behind Ji Kong. Their hearts stirred slightly. The head of the Ji family is truly a ruthless figure. Even his own son was killed. They really are. It's said that Ji Kong was exceptionally indulgent towards Ji Wenfeng, but now he has ruthlessly struck him down. Carrying the black official on his back, he walked 100,000 miles, and personally came to apologize. That truly shows sincerity. The elders exchanged glances. Their eyes turned in the direction of Chongming Palace. They had no right to make decisions on behalf of the sage. At this moment inside the Chongxian Pavilion, you glanced over the system panel. Righteousness brings more allies. Losing morality leads to fewer supporters. The Destiny protagonist Gu Yan's fortune has been damaged. Destiny value has decreased by 3,000 points. A Destiny treasure chest has been obtained. Seeing this, your gaze turned playful. The effort over these days. Each time Gu Yan faced setbacks, the Destiny points will decrease. It's a shame that Gu Yan only has so few friends. Most of them have already been squandered by him. Now Gu Yan is left with a pitiful 36,000 Destiny points. He shifted his gaze away from the panel, glanced casually toward the direction of Chongxian Pavilion's mountain gate. He sensed the arrival of Ji Kong. You have not taken even one step out of Chongming Palace. The Ji family isn't even worthy of narrowly defeating me. Actually, there's nothing personal against the Ji family, but I really feel sorry about it. A villain should act like a villain. Being overly kind-hearted is absolutely unacceptable. You whispered softly to yourself, then casually pointed with your finger. A hint of purple light appeared at your fingertip. It shot toward Ji Jia like a comet. Ji Jia stepped in to help. Gu Yan's actions are now known across the entire mystical realm. If you remain indifferent at this moment, choosing to forgive others might make people think you're weak and easy to take advantage of. Could potentially trigger a butterfly effect, leading more people to secretly assist the destined protagonist. The luck of the destined protagonist defies normal reasoning. At this point, the overall situation is already set, just waiting to claim the eternal gate from Gu Yan. You would rather avoid any further complications and risk having someone turn the tables. Besides, if an apology could truly solve everything, then the world would have been at peace a long time ago. We are all adults now. If you mess up, you deserve a proper punishment. With a loud boom, a mech located 100,000 miles away from Chongxian Pavilion was struck by an unprecedented horror from Musi Star, fell straight down. A deafening noise echoed. The massive ancestral land of the Ji family instantly collapsed. Countless powerful members of the Ji family were killed on the spot. A bottomless pit appeared at the original location of the Ji family's ancestral land. The Ji family, known for its exceptional power, saw their fortune plummet drastically. Outside the Xuanga Mountain Gate, many powerful figures from the Xian realm witnessed it. The moment the purple light shot out from the pavilion and fell, their eyes filled with intense fear. It was over for Ji Kong, the head of the Ji family. He immediately sensed that the ancestral land of the Ji family had been destroyed. In an instant, he collapsed to the ground. His eyes were empty and lifeless. He knew it was all over. Without the ancestral land and many of the Ji family's powerful members, the Ji family's fortune would plummet. They would instantly fall from a supreme power and drop to the level of a second-rate force. This matter has now come to an end. Before Ji Kong even had time to grieve, your calm voice could already be heard from outside the Xian Pavilion. grateful for the sage's compassion. Ji Kong shuddered when he heard those words. His whole body trembled. He immediately forced himself to regain composure. He bowed his head and knelt in gratitude. He understood. All of this was the result of his Ji family bringing it upon themselves. If Ji Wenfeng hadn't courted disaster, things wouldn't have ended up this way today. When a sage is enraged, countless corpses would lie in his wake. He understood that if the sage truly decided to hold him accountable, then at this moment, including himself, the Ji family would have already been erased from the mystical realm. The reason the mech is still here is because he decisively came forward to seek forgiveness, and managed to secure a sliver of hope for the mech. The sage had already shown him incredible mercy. As he thought about this, Ji Kong felt both terrified and relieved. The surrounding experts of the mystic realm finally realized what had happened, and the kind of impact that purple light had caused. Even though they had already guessed it, the power of this saint was truly terrifying beyond measure. Just as Ji Kong was about to turn and leave, to deal with the current mess of the Ji family, a cold and indifferent voice suddenly echoed by his ear. Take another trip to the small bamboo realm. Hang Ji Wenfeng's body in this spot. Place this item there as well. As the words were spoken, next to Ji Kong, a deep, swirling vortex tunnel suddenly appeared. At the same moment, a faint red glow appeared out of nowhere, landing in his hand. A natural passageway between two realms. The sage hung Xiao Wen's body. At the moment of seeing this passage, Ji Kong's body trembled. His expression was grim. This thing is. Ji Kong glanced at the item in his hand. His pupils constricted, and he dared not think further. Without any hesitation, he stepped into this wild interdimensional passage. At the same time, within the Xiaozhu realm, covered in blood, Gu Yan fell down like a dying stray dog. He came back, finally returned. For now, it's safe. Gu Yan's breath was faint and weak. On this journey back to the small bamboo world, he lost 9 lives out of 10. Although he was lucky enough to escape Ji Wenfeng's grasp, and managed to gain access to the passage between the two worlds, the mecha immediately reacted in an instant. He wasn't spared. Not long after he entered the passage between the two realms, a large group of people quickly charged in. They came to hunt him down, to escape his pursuers. In the passage between the two realms, Gu Yan forced himself to face the situation, and leapt into a violent and unexplored gap in the passage. With one stroke of bad luck, he could be torn apart by the void storm. Luckily, he's always had pretty good luck, even though he was seriously injured. In the end, Gu Yan still made it back to the little bamboo realm. Brother Ji, I will never forget your kindness. Just wait, your good days are still ahead. I will make sure to repay you generously. Half a day later, Gu Yan's injuries gradually started to heal. The spiritual energy in the little bamboo realm is truly no match for the profound realm. He made a casual remark. He stepped forward and left his original spot, holding a roll of intelligence given to him by Ji Wenfeng. He started heading in the direction of Wu City. Gu Yan figured, someone from the mystic realm would definitely come to Little Bamboo Realm to hunt him down, especially in his hometown, Wu City. He used the power of the void, concealed himself briefly within the void, before stepping into the gates of Wu City. Why isn't there any sign of the Gu family's businesses? Gu Yan suddenly noticed something was off. A chill ran through his heart. Wucheng is the stronghold of the Gu family. After he rose to power, the head of the Gu family even became the city lord of Wucheng. Originally, the Gu family already had quite a few businesses in Wucheng. Logically speaking, now that their scale has expanded, there should be even more businesses by now. How come after traveling for so long, and walking hundreds of meters, there still isn't a single shop with the Gu family's name? Gu Yan hurried toward the city lord's mansion, feeling a sense of unease growing in his heart. Oh no, could it be that the Zhengchuan pavilion has already made their move? As he passed by a tavern, he happened to hear the voice of a storyteller inside. This world is unpredictable, and full of unexpected changes. Ladies and gentlemen, who would have thought that the prominent Gu family in Wucheng would be completely destroyed in a single night? I heard through the grapevine that the Gu family met their end because of the talented Gu Yan from the Gu family, who offended an unparalleled divine lady in the upper realm, and provoked a massive retaliation from her powerful backers. Even the Gu family in the lower realm couldn't escape the consequences. So let this be a lesson to the young people out there. Lust brings about ruin and destruction. This serves as a timeless warning to the world. One must always keep this in mind. The Gu family has been completely wiped out. Gu Yan stopped in his tracks as he passed by. His face instantly turned as pale as a sheet. How could this possibly happen? It's absolutely impossible. This must be nonsense spread by these fools. By the time Gu Yan came to his senses, there was no time to question further. The storytellers spread false rumors about him. Is he truly the young star? At this moment, sorrow welled up from within. He directly revealed his immense cultivation power. With a single step, he entered the city lord's mansion among the 5 cities. He saw what should have been a luxurious city lord's mansion. But it had already collapsed and fallen apart, turning into a place of utter ruin. What shocked Gu Yan like a bolt of lightning was not knowing who was responsible for it. The entire city lord's mansion was filled with graves, one after another, connecting into a single expanse, resembling a haunted house. Gu Yan staggered slightly as he walked into the city lord's mansion. He noticed that in front of each grave, there was a stone tablet, engraved with names. The Gu family patriarch, eldest brother, and little sister Ing. Gu Yan's face turned ashen. Images of people began to flash through his mind. His entire body couldn't stop trembling. And right at that moment, he turned around, his cold gaze fixed on the area outside the city lord's mansion. At some point, they had quietly been surrounded. There were strong figures from the original bamboo world. And there were also pursuers from the upper realm. He softly spoke to the row of graves in front of him. Family, I won't let your deaths be in vain. Starting today, I will no longer have any limits. The Chongxian Pavilion and that guy. You will regret this. The Qingyun Sword Sect. Doesn't matter if it was you or not. Chu Feng decided to target the Qingyun Sword Sect first. Get ready to face my wrath. He didn't run away like he did before. Instead, he confidently walked out the door. 2 hours later, Gu Yan, covered in blood, broke through to the peak of the dragon transformation stage. A trail of bodies lay behind him. Many powerful individuals stronger than him had been slain by him across realms. Watching Gu Yan's disappearing figure, the remaining strong ones felt a chill run down their spines. It was as if they had witnessed a god of slaughter. At the same time, the system in the Chongxian Pavilion sent out a notification. Due to the protagonist of destiny, Gu Yan, straying from the right path, his demonic nature caused a loss in fortune. 10,000 destiny points were deducted. You glanced at the sudden notification the system displayed. A thought crossed your mind. Why did they suddenly turn dark out of nowhere? Weren't they just happily running back to the bamboo realm? Then your thoughts shifted. The divine sense of the earth enveloped the bamboo realm. It turns out it was the elders of Chongxian Pavilion who caused this. They were discovered by Gu Yan. Gu Yan advanced to the peak of the dragon transformation stage. He counterattacked and defeated the powerful enemies surrounding him. You didn't really care about how he left with ease. After all, he's the main character. It would be strange if he couldn't handle something like this. Understanding the causes and consequences, you deeply sympathize with Gu Yan's situation. TSK, finally getting home only to run into something like this. What a frustrating situation. It's actually a good thing in a way. The Gu family is gone. Next, visiting the Qingyun Sword Sect to see his good brother. It probably won't feel so bad then. When you put it that way, I guess you could say I was helping him build his character. I really am a decent person after all. Even though I'm a villain, I still have my principles. And naturally understand the importance of not harming one's family. Even though you and Gu Yan are sworn enemies, you've never actually thought about hurting Gu Yan's family, because doing something that low would be disgraceful. In the end, it's all the elders of Chongxian Pavilion causing trouble, being so careless about things. But it can still be considered an unexpected gain. You noticed the destiny treasure chest that appeared in your spiritual sea. It wasn't a waste of your hard efforts collecting it. Now you've managed to gather all 7 of them. And you're about to go off the grid again. After leaving Wu City, Gu Yan headed toward the direction of the Qingyun Sword Sect. I'm going to start a bloodbath and completely wipe out the entire Qingyun Sword Sect. The Qingyun Sword Sect is regarded as one of the most powerful forces in the Xiaozhu realm. It once seemed far beyond Gu Yan's reach, but now, after returning from the profound realm, Gu Yan's perspective has completely transformed. Even the strongest individual in the Xiaozhu realm is nothing more than an ordinary immortal platform. Qingyun Sword Sect, at most, has 3 to 5 immortal platforms. In the profound realm, it would only be considered a weak and insignificant force. With his current peak dragon transformation strength, along with his mastery of a saint-level cultivation technique, wanting to challenge opponents beyond one's level, effortlessly wiping out the Qingyun sword sect would be no issue. If you are not an incarnation of a saint, then settle the old grudges once and for all. Take them down directly. If it truly is the incarnation of a saint wiping out the Qingyun sword sect, it could be considered as regaining some ground. He controlled the power of the void, silently infiltrated the Qingyun sword sect. In less than half an hour, he ended up walking through the entire Qingyun sword sect. During this time, he saw many familiar figures, but after searching back and forth, he couldn't find any trace of you. Gu Yan's body trembled slightly. This news was the worst possible for him. Never mind, I'll just kill first and think later. A murderous glint flashed in his eyes. A heavenly grade longsword appeared in his hand. But just as Gu Yan was about to make a move, he suddenly looked off in a certain direction. His pupils contracted sharply. His gaze turned blank. There was a broken corpse hanging on a sword monument. Even though the body was already in ruins, Gu Yan recognized the corpse at a glance. Ji Wenfeng, the good brother who helped him escape from the Xian realm. Ji Wenfeng. How could he be hung on the sword monument of Qingyun's sword sect by a Xian corpse? It was like a bolt from the blue. Gu Yan's eyes widened in shock, staring in disbelief at the corpse on the sword monument. Blood was still slowly trickling down from the body. The entire body was broken beyond recognition. It was riddled with blood-soaked holes. It was clear that it had been forcibly hung on the sword monument. He gripped the pale green longsword in his hand tightly, struggling to hold back his overwhelming sorrow. In such a short span of time, he had endured the destruction of his home and the loss of his loved ones. The cruel death of his closest friend added to his despair. He was just a young man barely in his 20s. The fact that he hasn't gone insane shows his strong mental resilience. Brother, I truly wronged you. Don't worry, I will definitely avenge you. Avenge you? Ha ha ha. You little brat, how will you get revenge? What right do you have to seek revenge? All of a sudden, a cold shout echoed in Gu Yan's ears. It made his heart skip a beat. Sure enough, there was a powerful presence hidden in the shadows. He actually had a suspicion in his heart all along. Relying on the power of the void, he dared to come so boldly to pay tribute to Ji Wenfeng. When the sense of danger arrived, Gu Yan didn't hesitate at all, and was ready to manipulate the power of the void to escape. However, when Gu Yan saw a man who resembled Ji Wenfeng by 80% and had a strong, burly figure descend from the sky, he showed a look of shock. The head of the Ji family blurted out. He never expected it to be him. At this moment, Ji Kong's expression was twisted, yet it revealed a sense of exhaustion and pain. Feeling Ji Kong's anger, Gu Yan immediately said, Ji family head, we are not enemies. Wenfeng is my closest friend. Gu Yan understood in his heart. The head of the Ji family deeply cherished Ji Wenfeng, showing up in the small bamboo realm at this moment. It must be to retrieve Ji Wenfeng's body. Maybe this could be an opportunity. If I want to go against Chongxian Pavilion, he might be an ally worth pulling in. Ji Kong, furious beyond measure, laughed and said, true friend. What kind of friend behaves like you? Getting into such a huge mess, and not quickly finding a place to hide, but ended up looking for Wenfeng. You're really some kind of friend, huh? It's just that my ungrateful son is such a fool, that he fell for your tricks, bringing trouble upon himself. Hearing his reprimand, Gu Yan's face turned gloomy. He felt a surge of frustration, and argued back saying I didn't expect this to happen. It's my fault for letting Wenfeng down. Ji Kong's eyes widened, raised his fist and said everyone is dead. Does saying sorry make any difference? I'm taking you down today. Gu Yan stepped back slightly, secretly gathered the power of the void. Master Ji, I know you hate me deeply, but let's set aside the facts for a moment. Do you think I don't feel guilty? I promise you, Wenfeng's death was shrouded in mystery. I will definitely find out who killed him. Tear the body into pieces. Scatter the bones to the wind. Ji Kong heard this. He was momentarily stunned. After snapping out of it, he immediately flew into a rage and shouted nonsense. It was me who personally took down that traitorous son. It's all because of you, the bringer of misfortune. That's what brought such disaster upon our Ji family. What do you mean? Hearing this, Gu Yan was stunned. Ji Kong's words carried so much information. It almost fried his mental circuits. It wasn't Chongxian Pavilion that acted against Ji Wenfeng. It was Ji Kong who personally took action. But why? Gu Yan never expected this. The truth turned out to be something like this. It was even less likely to think of Ji Kong's pessimistic outlook. The humbling scene of kneeling outside Chongxian Pavilion to beg for forgiveness. This was already beyond what he could imagine. Ji Kong couldn't be bothered to say much to Gu Yan. He stayed here, just to ruthlessly crush. Gu Yan's punch landed. The entire mountain peak shattered. Only the sword monument and Ji Wenfeng's corpse remained unharmed. Gu Yan was utterly shocked. Unleashing the power of the void, hid beneath the sword steel. Ji Kong, upon seeing this, flew into a rage. He struck his palm downward. Golden light burst forth from his palm. A massive chessboard descended from the sky. The sacred tier weapon, heavenly origin chessboard. As the chessboard descended, Gu Yan was instantly trapped within the chessboard. Surrounded by countless black and white chess pieces, a thick mist of blood spread out. Originally, he wanted to kill Gu Yan directly to vent his anger. But he personally stayed at the Qingyun sword sect, because the sage had also assigned a task there. At that moment, he suppressed his murderous intent with great effort, and dropped a blood-red piece onto the Tianyuan chessboard. The moment the blood-red piece landed, it flew straight toward Gu Yan. Originally, he should have escaped using the power of the void. Gu Yan was shocked to discover the void power that had always worked wonders for him in the mystic realm suddenly failed to work at this moment. He was utterly stunned and terrified. At that moment, the crimson orb trapping him suddenly unfolded, gradually forming a faint silhouette. Xu Feng. Gu Yan stared in disbelief at the figure emerging from the vast red mist. Blurted out in shock. You looked at Gu Yan, stood with hands behind your back, smiled faintly and said, "Little junior brother, we meet again." Gu Yan's face turned grim. When he heard this sentence, all his suspicions were confirmed. Based on the seniority hierarchy, he really is your little junior brother. Gu Yan opened his mouth slightly, and asked through clenched teeth, "So it really is you, Xu Feng? What exactly are you planning?" "What am I planning? Haven't you been targeting me all this time? Now that you've come to the Qingyun sword sect, you're not here just to take a simple look around, are you? At your brother's corpse, perhaps?" Gu Yan heard these words. His face froze. The veins on his forehead bulged. His heart skipped a beat. He even felt a wave of fear. Ji Kong had clearly planned this in advance. You had already anticipated his actions. But you didn't take it seriously. You calmly continued speaking. "Speaking of which, you must really hate me right now. And you probably despise Chongxian Pavilion even more." Gu Yan was clenching his teeth so hard it felt like they might break. What exactly is this guy up to? All he ever says is pointless nonsense. I know you're really anxious. But don't rush just yet. Let me take a guess at what you're about to do next. Isn't it that you really want to go blow up the demon suppression array under the Chongxian Pavilion? That would definitely be thrilling. Gu Yan's heart skipped a beat. Guessed it again. Compared to someone who has always been an enemy, after finding out that you are the saint, Gu Yan didn't feel as much of a stir in his heart. What truly made him furious was the sect Chongxian Pavilion that once nurtured him now completely disregards their past relationship, turning against him to utterly eliminate him, leaving no survivors, making Gu Yan feel deeply betrayed, filled with deep hatred for Chongxian Pavilion. According to the plan he originally made, he intended to wait until he became stronger in the future, and then return to the Xian realm. The very first thing after returning was to blow up Chongxian Pavilion's talisman magic formation. But unexpectedly, this plan didn't even get off the ground, and he was completely outmaneuvered by the opponent. At this moment, Gu Yan only felt a chill run through his entire body. The talisman magic circle. To all the major transcendent forces in the mystical realm, it is given great importance. Once the talisman magic circle breaks, external demons will invade. The mystical realm could easily be plunged into chaos and suffering. With countless lives lost and bones piling up, this is absolutely insane. A desperate and irrational table-flipping act. This fear is unlike anything I'm familiar with. That arrogant and self-assured Gu Yan no longer seems to be the same. Alright, let me give you a chance. As you spoke, you waved your hand. Once again, a faint red glow descended toward Gu Yan. What the heck is this? Gu Yan focused his eyes on the red glow. and realized it was a piece of paper. This is an invitation from Nan Gongqin. It's an invitation for me to attend my master's ceremony. That vile person's internal ceremony. Gu Yan opened his mouth slightly. What exactly are you trying to do? You gave him a strange look. Go ahead and fulfill your small wish. With this invitation letter, no one will dare to touch you at Chongxian Pavilion. At that point, you can manipulate the magic array however you want. If you don't know how, I can teach you. Gu Yan's face turned pale. It's hard to figure out your true intentions. Could only let out a cold snort. Yet you seemed completely unfazed. Casually said not to overthink it. In my eyes, you're nothing more than a useless tool. The more opportunities you gain, the better it is for me. What do you mean? Hearing this, Gu Yan frowned but remained silent. Still don't get it. Little leak. You were lucky to pick up the door I left outside. And it even became his nourishment. Then you should take good care of it. When the time comes for me to take it back. What's wrong with that door? I'll make sure you can't live or die in peace. Unable to live or die as you wish. You stared at him with a faint, ambiguous smile. As soon as those words were spoken, Gu Yan was struck as if by lightning. The mysterious gate within his spiritual sea. That was his greatest trump card. But now you've revealed it in one sentence. Your gate was picked up by me. I am the nourishment. Could it be that you've always known? There is a mysterious gate in my spiritual sea. That's impossible. I have never revealed this information. Are you trying to trick me? Gu Yan quickly denied it. I have no idea what you're talking about. You just smiled faintly. You didn't bother to explain it intentionally. Some things, just hinting at it is already enough. After that, you don't do anything else. Gu Yan will start questioning his life. As you spoke, your shadow was gradually fading away. Before vanishing, you reminded them once again to make sure to attend. Little green onion. Watching your figure shatter like light and shadow, Gu Yan's legs gave out. He collapsed onto the ground. Now he was scared. Truly terrified. Turns out the thing I always tried to hide was nothing but a joke in others' eyes. That guy. He knew about the mysterious gate inside me from the very beginning. A saint like him. Ever since I joined the Qingyun sword sect, he has appeared in front of me multiple times. He even openly handed me several opportunities. Could it all have been an act? What exactly is this gate? Could it actually belong to him? Was I just a tool from the very start? The person already started filling in the blanks in their mind, questioning everything about life, completely falling apart as a person. The protagonist Gu Yan's faith wavered due to the will of destiny. Destiny points decreased by 10,000. 3 destiny treasure chests have been obtained. Meanwhile, Ji Kong, who was outside the Tianyuan chessboard, watched Gu Yan collapse to the ground. His expression darkened. He had no idea what you said to Gu Yan. Just by looking at his expression, it's clear he's deeply shaken right now. This isn't surprising at all. After all, it's the work of a sage. Now that the official matters are settled, it's time to deal with personal matters. Even if I can't kill him, I still want him to suffer endlessly. A cold glint flashed in his eyes as he raised his fist, controlling the black and white pieces on the chessboard, fiercely striking Gu Yan's critical points. Ah, all of a sudden, Gu Yan's screams quickly echoed through the skies. At this moment of despair, all of a sudden, the heavenly chessboard of Ji Kong mysteriously tore open a crack. A figure radiating a powerful aura appeared. Who is it? Ji Kong was taken aback. He immediately shouted. But it was already too late. A massive hand appeared out of nowhere in the void. It fiercely reached into the Tianyuan chessboard and grabbed Gu Yan directly. A shower of blood rained down. The giant hand vanished without a trace. Witnessing this scene, everyone from Ji Kong was left stunned. Oh no, Gu Yan has been rescued. If the sage holds us accountable, what are we supposed to do? He immediately felt extremely anxious. Ji Kong never imagined that he would fail. But those large hands appeared so suddenly. With his cultivation as a great king-level expert, he still couldn't react in time. This left Ji Kong absolutely stunned. His mind went completely blank. After a long while, finally, I gradually came to my senses. Ah, fate is what it is. Maybe this is just the destiny of the Ji family. This Gu Yan dared to compete with a saint for a woman. He has completely offended the saint. Ji Kong understood. Losing Gu Yan would undoubtedly be a grave offense. He considered running away. But after thinking it through carefully, is there any way to escape? It's way too easy for a saint to find him. Especially since he's not like Gu Yan, who has no connections. Even though the Ji family is severely weakened now, they still have a big foundation to rely on. Where could he possibly run to? Better report the situation right away. Maybe then he can at least die with some dignity, and leave a sliver of hope for the Ji family. Once he understood this reasoning, Ji Kong's face turned ashen. He hurried back to the Xian realm. After returning to the Xian realm, Ji Kong once again arrived outside the Chongxian Pavilion's mountain gate. Then he immediately knelt on the ground. Ji Kong failed to handle the matter properly, which allowed Gu Yan to be rescued by someone. And now he is asking Chu Sheng for punishment. You lifted your eyelids. Your gaze fell on what was before you. The head of the Ji family knelt on the ground. This person is decisive in killing and acting. Their mind is relatively clear. They know how to adapt to circumstances. They could be considered a capable individual. You smiled faintly as you spoke. It's fine, your mission is already completed. Where did Gu Yan go? Who was it that rescued him? Stopping this is beyond what someone of your rank can do. The task has been completed. Ji Kong froze for a moment. He never expected the saint to be so magnanimous. There wasn't the slightest hint of blame towards him. He quickly bowed his head to express his gratitude to the saint. But what surprised him even more was yet to come. With just a wave of your hand, the kneeling Ji Kong was lifted by an immense and powerful force. I have always been someone who was fair in rewards and punishments. You did a pretty good job on this matter. Grant you 10 pounds of cultivation techniques. Ji Kong heard this. His heart skipped a beat. He wondered if there was something wrong with his hearing. Not only was he released without charges, but he could even receive a reward. 10 pounds of cultivation techniques. Could it be? He swallowed hard, and then saw right in front of him. Suddenly, a small mountain appeared, radiating a dazzling rainbow light. He was completely stunned. He eagerly fixed his eyes on these small mountains. Every single one of them was of the sacred level. Oh my gosh! Even though he had already mentally prepared himself, Ji Kong still trembled all over with excitement. These book-like mountains were all sacred level techniques. He was utterly dumbfounded. If we say that earlier you wiped out more than half of the Ji family's foundation with just one move, making Ji Kong still hold some resentment in his heart. But upon seeing these 10 golden saint-level cultivation techniques, then all those grievances vanished into thin air. At this moment, Ji Kong's heart is filled with nothing but gratitude. These 10 golden saint-level cultivation techniques are enough for him to rebuild an even stronger mecha force. And at the root of all this, it ultimately comes down to that Gu Yan being at fault. What could it possibly have to do with Chu Sheng? Ji Kong immediately expressed his gratitude towards Chu Sheng. Chu Sheng's great kindness will never be forgotten. I will always remember it on behalf of my Ji family. I am willing to serve Chu Sheng with my life. I will dedicate myself wholeheartedly. You don't seem to care much about Ji Kong's statement. The Ji family is not qualified enough to become your followers. It was this guy who decided to come back and report. If he had run away to avoid punishment, in that case, there would be no need for the Ji family to exist anymore. After Ji Gong completed his mission, he retreated. You released your divine sense of the earth to sweep through the small bamboo realm. Gu Yan's destiny value still had quite a bit remaining. It was possible to once again turn a dangerous situation into safety. It didn't come as a surprise to you at all. The thing that intrigued you the most was, who was the mysterious figure that saved Gu Yan? Being able to stand before a king at the great ascension level, and take Gu Yan away without being noticed. It must be at least a saint-level existence. By the way, Gu Yan just burst out with gold coins again. Exactly 10 destiny treasure chests. Let's start with a 10 draw streak. Brilliant rays of light erupted from the chests that were opened. Suddenly, your mind is filled with dazzling starlight. Countless treasures appeared in an instant. What great luck! This time, the 10 draw yielded 3 destiny shards, including the ones from before. You now have 5 destiny fragments. You still need 5 more destiny fragments to craft a destiny key. This item is linked to unlocking your next identity, which makes you feel a bit excited. Then you glanced at the small pile that appeared in the sea of consciousness, and shook your head helplessly. So much toilet paper was given again. The last batch hasn't even been used up yet. Only 10 pounds were sent out earlier. This time they gave over 200 pounds again. It just keeps going on and on. The most frustrating part is, this time it's not just toilet paper but also other trash. Look at this sea of treasures filled with weapons glowing with brilliance. The recent 10 draws just now resulted in getting 2 1,000-ton holy-grade weapons. Doesn't it feel way too unfair? Turning my Grandland sea of treasures into a scrapyard for recycling junk. In the end, you eagerly set your sights on the treasure revealed in this 10-time draw. This time, the golden legend turned out to be a green blessing card, radiating a majestic divine aura. This was clearly an extraordinarily unique artifact. It surprisingly had the power to connect with the heavenly will, allowing for a flawless divination. Isn't divination essentially asking questions and directly communicating with the heavenly will for answers? Which truly shows how extraordinary this item is. After learning how to use it, you almost instinctively channeled your spiritual power, directly activated it within your sea of consciousness, and triggered this grand heavenly destiny talisman. Your sea of consciousness instantly fell silent, as if the burning flames had been frozen. The talisman paper gradually revealed a single word, ask. But you had already prepared in advance, and directly asked the question you wanted to know. How does the heavenly law change or hide the ultimate villain's fate? The destiny of the ultimate antagonist, born to be in an endless battle with the protagonist destined by fate. This is also your greatest danger. Even though the only protagonist destined to oppose you, Gu Yan, has already been completely defeated by you. But based on various signs and clues, even this brainless fool, if given enough time to grow stronger, could still become a troublesome opponent. But the destined protagonist. Not everyone is as easy to deal with as Gu Yan. A straightforward fate. There will still be many other destined protagonists to face next. What if we encounter someone with overwhelming strength? An opponent whose intelligence is almost otherworldly? That would be a real problem. So the best approach is to reverse, or to conceal fate. Astonishing. Eliminate all these predestined protagonists in the shadows. That would be amazing. However, the answer given by the Grand Destiny Talisman completely defied your expectations. The Burning Destiny Talisman indicated that it could not provide an answer. Try asking a different question. You frowned slightly, feeling dissatisfied in your heart. How could the heavenly way be this disappointing? After thinking for a moment, asked about a destiny protagonist with combat power beyond level D. How long until they come looking for me? Can you tell me everything about him? The will of heaven remained silent for a while before responding. After calculation, the time of appearance is 28 days later. The person who meets the criteria comes from the outside world. Specific details are unknown. 28 days later feels so soon. A cold glint appeared in your eyes as you heard this. Felt a sense of crisis. Though the heavenly Tao didn't provide detailed information about this protagonist of destiny, it still revealed some key details. The heavenly Tao responded afterward, seemingly afraid to communicate with you again. The Grand Destiny Talisman in the Divine Sea quickly turned to ashes. Never thought the next protagonist of destiny opposing me would already possess D-level combat strength. But you don't really care. Making plans in my mind. Are you from another world? That actually makes sense. Looks like I need to prepare properly, just to be on the safe side. I need to get my Eternal Gate back as soon as possible. After a moment, you slowly sat upright. A glint of golden light flashed in your eyes. Found it, hidden in a really secluded place. Gu Yan's destiny value seems to have increased a bit. It seems like there's been an extraordinary encounter. Under the watchful gaze of your divine sense of the earth, this paradise-like world is fully revealed before your eyes. Within it are lush green mountains and clear flowing waters. The spiritual energy is incredibly abundant, comparable to the mystical realm. What surprises you even more is, in such a tiny world like this, there are unexpectedly over 100 kings, and 3 sages as well. There's even a legendary figure. You quickly set your sights on Gu Yan, noticing that his destiny value compared to before had surprisingly increased by nearly 10,000, and it was still slowly but steadily rising. This didn't really surprise you at all. The protagonist of destiny truly stands out, and following the line of sight. At this moment, the just rescued Gu Yan was looking at the girl in front of him, appearing both confused and shocked. What are you doing here? And standing before him was a young girl from the Hor clan. She was the one who had gone missing earlier. His childhood sweetheart, by Xin. Gu Yan never imagined he would see her here. Brother Gu Yan. It's been so long. When the girl saw Gu Yan recognize her, she immediately broke into a smile and waved at him. What exactly is going on here? The missing Bai Shiner suddenly appeared right in front of him. This made Gu Yan feel a bit delighted. But even more so, he was completely puzzled. When Gu Yan asked questions, the people around him acted very indifferent. Some even had contempt and hostility in their eyes. No one gave him any answers. Only Bai Shiner kindly explained by saying, Brother Gu Yan, that's how it is. They're all part of my clan. Don't let their appearance fool you. They're actually very kind people. Gu Yan from the clan was startled. The first thing that came to mind was the Bai family. Bai Shiner nodded and said yes. I never thought I would turn out to be part of the demon clan. Back then, Qingshu found me and told me I had demon clan blood in me. I was really surprised too. Oh, by the way, Brother Gu Yan, this is Qingshu. We really have Qingshu to thank this time. With his help, we were able to save you. When Gu Yan heard this, an elder nearby with a square-shaped face had a very commanding presence. This feeling, compared to the many influential figures he had encountered in the mystic realm, it was even more terrifying. Gu Yan wasn't foolish. Even though he had countless doubts in his mind, Gu Yan immediately understood what was going on at that moment. He quickly bowed and expressed his gratitude to the elder, thanking Qingshu for saving his life. Gu Yan promised to repay the favor in the future. At that moment, a cold snort broke the silence. Not far below the old man stood a young man who looked quite similar to him. He shouted coldly, "Who do you think you are? Daring to call my father uncle? That's a title only the princess can use." From the other side came a voice of reproach. This person truly has no sense. Do you know how to address Qing Shang? What an ill-mannered individual. Qing Shang, the uncle referred to by Xiner. Turns out, it was actually a sage. He felt a jolt in his heart. In that moment, he immediately understood. Even his gaze shifted completely. Being able to take something from this great king of Mahayana. Only a sage could save someone so easily. It must take a saint to do such a thing. And it seems Shiner is a princess. Turns out it was a saint all along. I realize now that I was being disrespectful earlier. Gu Yan had met Qing Shang. At this moment, Gu Yan quickly bowed his head and respectfully saluted the elder above him again. Aixiner shook her head once more, reminded him that it was not the case. Qingshu is not a sage. He is a great saint. As soon as the great saint said this, Gu Yan's heart was greatly shaken. The great saint is a realm above the sage. Only then can one be considered a great sage. The meaning in this case is entirely different. For a great sage, killing a saint would be an effortless task. Doesn't this imply that this person could easily overpower you? When Gu Yan thought of this, his mind began to churn. This clear sage would step in to save me for Xiner. If the communication is handled properly, convincing this great sage, help me deal with the little guy. I saved you because of the princess. I also think you might still be useful. I want to discuss a partnership with you. I plan to work together with you. Gu Yan, who was initially feeling uneasy, felt relieved when he heard this, and was secretly pleased. He had the same thought in mind, and quickly responded enthusiastically saying, Qing Shang must be joking. You saved my life. I can't thank you enough for your immense kindness. If there's anything you need from me, just let me know. Talking about cooperation. You might be giving Mr. Gu a bit too much credit. Such a humble attitude. Even made a trace of disdain flash in Qing Shang's eyes. Then he calmly said, it's really not a big deal. I heard you're very familiar with the Xian realm. It just so happens we need someone to guide us. Help locate a few rune magic formations in the mystic realm. Then we will step in to help you destroy those formations. As long as you agree, I won't take advantage of you. I can also promise you some terms. What a great opportunity. Gu Yan stood there in shock. He didn't expect the request from Qing Shang to align perfectly with what he wanted. Though Gu Yan was secretly delighted. But he didn't agree to it right away. He understood that for someone as significant as Kayamori, if he agreed too easily, it might make the other person look down on him. So he intentionally showed a troubled expression. This matter seems to be quite difficult to handle. The demon subduing formation. That is guarded by a transcendent force. And the things sealed beneath the demon subduing formation could cause trouble if they were to be released. That is utter devastation for living beings. Gu certainly wouldn't dare to be the one to commit such a crime. The young man who was filled with hostility toward Gu Yan earlier let out a cold snort immediately. Trash is nothing but trash. Gu Yan felt a flicker of anger at hearing that word. His heart was slightly enraged. Right now, he was somewhat reactive to those two words. Bai Shiner heard this and said with slight irritation, "Brother Tiniu, can you stop being so impulsive? Gu Yan isn't part of the demon clan. He must have his own concerns. Besides, this is something only Gu Yan can accomplish. Stop saying such nonsense." Seeing Bai Xiner speak up for him, Gu Yan's lips curled slightly. He felt a little better inside. Thankfully, all the care for Xiner in the past wasn't in vain. At this moment, Xing Shang glanced at Gu Yan indifferently. The disdain in his eyes grew even stronger. Gu Yan's little schemes were easily seen through by him. That's exactly why he felt so disappointed. The princess had previously praised Gu Yan quite a bit in front of him, but now seeing him in person, he realized there was a big gap from what he expected. He lacked even a bit of the courage and carefree spirit of a man. He only saw a scheming and manipulative person. If it weren't for the princess, he wouldn't even bother arguing with a kid who's only at the dragon transformation stage. At this moment, he calmly spoke. "It seems you're well aware of what the demon subduing array is. That's better. Don't try to play tricks in front of a great saint. I can see through all your little schemes." Gu Yan heard Qing Shang's blunt and unkind words. The smile that had just appeared froze instantly, staring coldly at Gu Yan. "As long as you can help me destroy a few rune magic arrays, I can help you take care of that human saint chasing after you, and even wipe out the Chongxian pavilion along with them." Hearing this, Gu Yan, his pupils contracted, and deep in his eyes, hatred and longing ignited. He said seriously, "Since you've already figured everything out, Qing Shang, then I won't pretend anymore. As long as you're willing to help me deal with that saint, forget just a few demon-suppressing arrays. I'm even willing to destroy every single demon-suppressing array in the entire Xian realm. I wouldn't hesitate to do it." Hatred was written all over his eyes. Thinking about the struggles he had endured these days, his heart was filled with anger and frustration, and he couldn't help but feel wronged. Xing Shang burst into hearty laughter. "All right, even though I look down on you, but I admit you're actually not bad. The mortal world, the human world." Hearing those two heartbreaking words, Gu Yan's breathing quickened. He seemed a bit overwhelmed emotionally. In less than a month, he went from being admired by everyone as a prodigy to blending into the ordinary. The drastic change made him somewhat angry and embarrassed. But looking at the great sage right in front of him, Gu Yan understood very well. This was someone even more terrifying than you. He had no right to lose his temper. Gu Yan adjusted his tone to be more polite. "Prosperity, I have one more request. I want to be the master of Chongxian Pavilion, and I need you to leave a few people behind for me. I want to personally make them suffer. Finally, that sage. You must also hand over his sealed cultivation to me." Gu Yan said coldly. His eyes were bloodshot. Right now, all he wanted was revenge. As long as he could succeed in avenging himself, he was willing to do anything. Xingxing gave a faint smile. He didn't say anything more. On the side, Bai Xiner saw Gu Yan's expression. Her eyes revealed a trace of worry. "Brother Gu Yan, what exactly happened to him? This look is terrifying." After wrapping up this conversation, Gu Yan was taken away by Bai Xiner. Gu Yan had thought he found a powerful ally. Little did he know you had seen everything. At the same time, the system also sent a notification ding. Gu Yan, the destined protagonist, develop feelings of admiration for childhood friend Bai Xiner. Conquer the heroine Bai Xiner within 1 month. Successfully intercept the situation. Upon seeing this, you weren't surprised by the task. When you confirmed that Bai Xiner was the heroine, you had already anticipated this task would appear. This Gu Yan is really shameless to the extreme. Only at a moment like this does he develop genuine feelings for Bai Xiner. Judging by how these two look, they probably haven't even held hands before. That's not very nice of you. I gave you a chance, but you couldn't make it work. Anyway, you're not far from meeting your end. I'll take care of Bai Xiner for you." You rub your chin. Your gaze is full of teasing amusement. At this moment, Gu Yan and Bai Xiner are alone together in the room. It's been a long time since they last met. Gu Yan's eyes are fixed on Bai Xiner. The young girl had bright and captivating eyes. Her charming smile was radiant. It's been such a long time since I've seen you, Xiner. You're looking more and more beautiful. She reached out her hand, trying to hold Xiner's smooth, fair hand, to build a closer bond. Xiner blinked her eyes, looking at Gu Yen with a bit of surprise. Brother Gu Yen, why are you acting so strange today? You never used to praise me like this before. She noticed Gu Yen extending his palm. Naturally, she offered her fair hand. But just as their hands were about to touch, "Who are you?" accompanied by Xiner's startled exclamation. "You appeared in this luxurious grand hall. Then you casually gave a slap." Gu Yan's body immediately split apart, and he peacefully closed his eyes. Seeing this scene, Bai Shiner's face showed fear. "Brother Gu Yan." You looked at Bai Shiner. She looked like a frightened kitten, curling up and retreating backward. Unable to hold back a laugh, you said, "Don't worry. He's fine, just passed out." At this moment, Bai Shiner's eyes were fixed on you. Her heart skipped a beat. "You call this being dizzy? Who exactly are you? How are you able to show up here?" He pretended to be scared on the surface, but in reality his palm somehow had a piece of crystal clear jade, which he was crushing with force. You watched Bai Xiner making sneaky movements, and paid it no attention, seeking help from a great saint in front of the emperor. That sounds a bit like a simpleton's crude skill. "It's me, Chu Feng. You've probably heard of my name before." You walked in with a smile on your face toward Bai Xiner. Bai Xiner was forced back into the corner of the wall, appearing strong on the surface. The little trembling motion of his tail gave him away. Brother Gu Yan, that nemesis of the Qingyun sword sect, a genius from the little bamboo realm. No matter how strong, it's still just a dragon transformation realm, with no one to lead the way. How could they possibly get here? Bai Xiner froze for a moment. His lips trembled as he warned, "Don't come any closer. I'm telling you. If you step closer, I will." I pressed a large hand down on Bai Xiner's head. "Don't bother screaming, no one will come even if you shout your lungs out." You looked down at him with a calm and indifferent gaze. The jade stone in your hand had already shattered. "Does it work?" your words reminded him. Bai Shiner realized. The communication jade stone in her hand had already broken. Under normal circumstances, the new book should have arrived by now. But there hasn't been any response. He was so scared that tears welled up in his eyes. You watched him in this state. The smile grew even brighter. This petite woman has a way of making people want to tease her. But you chose not to keep joking with him. Instead, you got straight to the point, following your plan. Bayan is set to head to the mystic realm next to destroy the demon suppression array. At that time, he will come to Chongxian Pavilion. Just follow my instructions and handle one task. Hearing this, Bai Shiner felt a cold shiver in her heart. Her sense of crisis heightened significantly. Even our plans are completely clear to them. The complexity of the mystical world is beyond what I imagined. He firmly refused. "I decline and ask you to leave." However, you seem to have anticipated his reaction all along. The smile on your face grew even brighter. "No rush, I've never been someone who enjoys free rides. Shouldn't you take a look at the terms I'm offering? Take a look at the sincerity I'm showing. What exactly is freeloading?" Bai Shiner furrowed her brows. Before he could react, suddenly, between the two of them, a golden orb of light appeared floating in the air. "Promise me that all of this is yours." Bai Shiner heard what you said. Her pupils suddenly contracted. Her gaze locked firmly on that golden orb of light. Inside it, there were actually 10 tons of Saint-Tier weapons. Seeing his utterly shocked expression. "But you just shook your head." "It might just be a personal habit. The weight directly represents my sincerity." Looking at this 10 tons of Saint-Tier weapons. At this moment, Bai Shiner felt even more puzzled. Even though she and Gu Yan did grow up together. But Gu Yan is absolutely not worth 10 tons of Saint-Tier weapons. A supreme saint of the human race, carrying 10 tons of Saint-Tier weapons, just to toy with a mere useless dragon shifter. Although that was what she thought, Bai Shiner still refused again without hesitation. "You're not capable. Take your worthless scrap metal and leave this place." This deal was indeed very beneficial for him. But he was a visionary demon. He couldn't just focus on immediate gains and losses. Besides, this man was too mysterious. Earlier, he had been leading the situation all along. The crucial moment is just around the corner. We can't afford to let small mistakes ruin everything. If his true intentions are exposed, It would cause a lot of trouble. And you were turned down. But you didn't seem to mind. Bai Shiner wasn't wrong. It really is just scrap metal. Then you waved your hand again. Alright, let's add another 30 tons. When did sacred weapons become as common as cabbages? So easy to just pull them out like it's nothing. Bai Shiner prided herself on being knowledgeable. She had witnessed countless grand occasions. But the scene before her was something she had never encountered before. When you see Bai Shiner's expression, does it show you now that I mean business? Hearing this, Bai Shiner fell silent in thought. To be honest, she felt a bit tempted. Even though he didn't think much of sacred tier weapons in the past. That was back then. Now he has fallen from grace. The glory he once had is now just a memory. The only person he can rely on now is Qingshu. It's important to approach things with a broader perspective. With these 40 tons of sacred tier weapons, there's a lot he will be able to accomplish moving forward, including the things he truly wants to achieve. But that's not the main point. The main point is, what exactly is this man thinking? So many holy tier weapons, all just to get him to join in and mess around with Gu Yan. Isn't he at a loss here? He must have some other motive. But even if he wrecks his brain, he won't figure it out. You're simply trying to get gold coins out of Gu Yan, aren't you? You watched as Bai Xinr hesitated, and smiled faintly to yourself. Although Bai Xinr is a woman with a notable background. But so what? It also shows sincerity in a more traditional way. But it stands out for being straightforward and simple, direct and effective. The smarter a person is, the better they know how to negotiate benefits. These demons all have to go to the mystic realm to deceive the magic formation. That is the lifeline of the mystic realm. What they're plotting must be something significant. The closer it gets to the big battle, the demand for provisions increases accordingly. And weapons of the sacred tier are the best resources. A leader with even a bit of vision would never let this opportunity slip by. The heavy olive branch you've extended. I will decline. Just when you thought Bai Xinr was about to give in, a cold voice of refusal echoed once again. The demon race has its principles. They would never collaborate with humans. Hearing this, you slightly raised your eyebrows. You looked directly at the woman. Unless you add 10 more tons. Bai Shiner seemed worried that you might turn around and leave. She hesitated a little, and immediately stated her own terms. Actually, when you brought out 40 tons of Saint-tier weapons, he had already clearly analyzed the pros and cons, but he couldn't agree so easily. This guy acted way too casually. So he concluded, the bottom line of you, the human saint, is definitely more than 40? He was very rational, and didn't raise the price arbitrarily, or ask for an exorbitant amount. The art of negotiation is about ensuring both sides can gain benefits that are acceptable to each other. Bai Xinr is not greedy, just to maximize the benefits. Add another 10 tons. From his perspective, at least it could drain most of your household resources, making you suffer a significant loss. Add another 10 tons, right? You stared straight at him, noticing Bai Xinr's visible nervousness. You casually said then make it 50 tons. After saying that, you waved your hand again, then brought out a cluster of golden light. Witnessing this scene, Bai Shiner's eyes immediately sparkled. Quickly said deal. His fair hand instantly swept across these 5 clusters of golden light. Directly collected them. Tell me how you want me to arrange Gu Yan. Bai Shiner made a decisive move. After accepting 50 tons of holy grade weapons, decisively sold Gu Yan off. It was only at this moment that you spoke lightly, saying that when he reaches the mystic realm, I will tell you what needs to be done. Bai Xinr couldn't hold back her curiosity at this point. She glanced at Gu Yan, and opened her mouth to ask, what kind of grudge do you have against him? Why are you targeting him like this? He couldn't understand. If you want to torment Gu Yan, just take him away directly. He definitely won't resist right now. But instead, you go through so much trouble, even sacrificing as much as 50 tons of sacred grade weapons as the price, all just to mess with you. Let out a chuckle. This has nothing to do with you anymore. After saying that, you glanced at Gu Yan. His head and body gradually came together with the help of the Eternal Gate. At some point, they unknowingly began to merge, slowly regaining signs of life. Had just completed the deal with Bai Xinr. You already started to feel some anticipation. Gu Yan, full of confidence, returning to the mystic realm, bringing the Azure Bull Saint along to seek revenge. only to be struck down and left with a look of utter despair. After this time, the destiny points may have finally reached their end. The Eternal Gate, please endure staying with him for a few more days, and continue helping him recover from his injuries. Bai Xian'er witnessed this scene, feeling even more bewildered, thinking that Gu Yan's recovery was your doing. As you left, you waved at Bai Xian'er. Bai Xian'er seemed dissatisfied with your actions. She cast a cold glance at you, then turned around, intending to leave the bamboo house. You watched Bai Xian'er as she turned her back to you. The fluffy tail gently swayed. It was quite eye-catching, then casually gave it a squeeze. It felt pretty nice. Just as the flattering words ended, your figure vanished in an instant. The sudden touch on Bai Xian'er's tail made her feel as if she was struck by lightning. Her delicate body went completely stiff, and her innocent face turned bright red in a flash. This cursed ancestor of humanity. How dare he behave so disrespectfully towards me? Sister, could you please not act this way? We shouldn't treat Brother Gu Yan like this. At this moment, within Bai Xian'er's spiritual sea, a white light sphere radiating a sacred glow, trying to take control of the body, bitterly, pleading in despair. No way, Bai Xian'er replied. But it's Brother Gu Yan. He has helped me a lot in the past. Let me help you snap out of it. He's only doing it for himself. Back then, he gained benefits from you behind your back, far more than you could ever imagine. Besides, if he really cared about you, when he went to the mystic realm, why didn't he even bother to let you know? If he truly had you in his heart, what was he trying to do just now? You can't possibly feel nothing about this. It was that guy who showed up. Otherwise I would have slapped him unconscious. What nonsense! And he thinks he can cling to me. Alright, stop worrying so much about someone who's as good as gone. This time, he's offended someone way too powerful. That person wants to kill Gu Yan. It would be as simple as crushing an ant. Though I don't know what exactly he plans to do to Gu Yan. But you should stay out of this. I don't want this worthless matter to ruin our big plans. But we can't negotiate with someone untrustworthy. That guy is clearly not a good person. Helping him could also lead to unexpected problems. I know, but what else can we do? He's offering way too much. 50 tons and hundreds of holy-grade weapons. You don't understand what this really means. But what if he has bad intentions? Harboring ill intentions? Trying to scheme against me. Then he might have miscalculated. A cold glint flickered in Bai Xian'er's eyes. His past strength is beyond what these saints of the mystic realm can comprehend. A quasi-emperor, a demon who nearly stepped onto the path of becoming an emperor. As long as he remains cautious enough, this tiny mystic realm, no one can outmaneuver him. And at this very moment, the sound of Gu Yan groaning in pain came from the ground. Bai Xian'er murmured softly, saying, "It's done. Little sister, things have come to this point. I'll take control of the body for the time being. Don't blame me for being ruthless, being targeted by someone this relentless. Gu Yan has no future whatsoever. Just a mere Gu Yan. A holy-grade weapon weighing 50 tons. You could say his life was worth it." He raised his jade-like palm. Gu Yan, who was just starting to show signs of turning things around, was immediately knocked unconscious again. Bai Xian'er and the destined protagonist remained silent. A crack has formed. Your destiny value has decreased by 5,000 points. You have obtained the destiny treasure chest. Having just returned to the mystic realm, you received a system notification right on time. The smile is full of warmth. This personality of Bai Xian'er is completely different from the other naive and timid one. Reveals nothing but darkness. It seems that in the upcoming small wilderness world, Gu Yan's situation might not look too promising. Ding, dear host. This time, it seems the female lead wasn't successfully won over. Why are you in such a hurry? Winning over the female lead isn't something that happens so quickly. 2 souls in one body. This is quite a challenge. A tough challenge unlike any other. Winning over someone with 2 souls in one body is like trying to win the hearts of 2 completely different women. Moreover, this woman's background is a complete mystery. Even though the interaction was brief, you can still sense the deep-seated pride she carries within her, and the faint trace of disdain she has towards you. You need to understand, since Bai Xian'er has already assumed you're the great sage, yet still looks down on you, there's only one possible explanation. He was at least a sage king in the past, or perhaps even a level stronger. This kind of powerhouse doesn't value saint-level weapons that much. You can tell. The reason Bai Shiner is willing to agree. It's simply because of being broke. If you want to be like Nangong Qing, use your inherited sincerity to win them over. You might need hundreds of tons of ultimate imperial weapons. If you had them, you'd just throw them at him. There's definitely no way you'd lose out. Both the body and heart are gained. Aren't these things just going back where they belong? The point is, we're not some crazy rich tycoons. There was no extra food at home, so we could only plan carefully for the long term. Start with the heart before moving to physical connection. And early the next morning, Gu Yan woke up leisurely in the small bamboo house. His head was pounding with pain. He felt his throat was very dry. He looked around in confusion. Suddenly, he remembered what happened yesterday. That person was Chu Feng. The thought of it made his heart skip a beat. He quickly got up to look for Bai Shiner, trying to figure out exactly what had happened. Just as Gu Yan was looking around anxiously, a soft voice suddenly echoed by his ear. Gu Yan turned around to look. His eyes lit up. He said, "Shiner, my little sister. Where have you been?" Bai Shiner's eyes casually glanced over. She calmly said to follow her. He moved gracefully with light steps. He passed by Gu Yan and headed east. "Where are you going?" Gu Yan found it strange when Bai Shiner ignored him. He couldn't help feeling a little puzzled. Today this girl seemed particularly distant. "Xing Shu wants to see you. And has plans for you. That great sage is looking for me." Gu Yan felt a sudden shock in his heart. He watched Bai Xiner's figure gradually fade into the distance. He could only follow reluctantly. At this moment, in a massive Yanwu arena, several enormous 9-patterned cauldrons stood tall. And right on the largest 9-patterned cauldron in the center, the Green Ox Sage sat cross-legged on top of it. The Green Ox Sage looked at Gu Yan and calmly said, "Little one, your cultivation level is really way too low. With this level of cultivation, heading to the mystic realm is pointless. Even if I wanted to help you, there's nothing I can do. Right now, I need to help you quickly break through to the immortal platform stage. Only then will it be easier to take action. You think my cultivation level is too low. You want to help me reach the immortal platform stage." When Gu Yan heard this, he was completely stunned for a moment. In all his life until now, wherever he went, people praised him as a genius. This was the first time he had been looked down upon for his low cultivation level. But when he realized the other person intended to help him break through to the immortal platform, he couldn't help but feel a surge of anticipation. With a great sage offering guidance, this was undoubtedly a rare opportunity for him. He immediately expressed his gratitude by saying thank you to Sage Qing. "I'll follow your instructions no matter what you ask of me. Feel free to make any arrangements." Sage Qing nodded lightly and said that's fine. "Time is running short. Let's get straight to it." He gestured behind him, at the massive ancient cauldron towering 10 meters taller than him. "If you want to break through to the immortal stage, your body needs to be thoroughly tempered. With your current frail build, reaching the immortal stage will be extremely difficult. For now, you should start by carrying these ancient cauldrons here. The longer you endure at the top each time, the better the effect of tempering your body becomes. When your body can withstand the weight of 5 ancient cauldrons at once, your body will transform into a sturdy foundation." Gu Yan paused for a moment and glanced at the ancient cauldron behind the Qingniu Great Sage. The ancient cauldron stood about 15 meters tall. Its surface covered with strange beast patterns. An ancient aura emanated from it. From Gu Yan's perspective, this ancient cauldron is likely extremely heavy. He felt a tingling sensation on his scalp. Instinctively, he asked how much this cauldron weighs. The Azurox Saint replied calmly that it wasn't very heavy. Roughly about 108,000 jin. 108,000 jin. Gu Yan took a deep breath. That weight is quite exaggerated. Relying solely on physical strength to lift one would be impossible. The pressure at the bottom of the valley is immense. And at the same time, he had to lift 5 of them. More than 500,000 pounds. Just the thought of it made his heart sink. The hesitation lasted for only half a second. Thinking of the small burial hill of the Gu family, and his best friend, Ji Wenfang, who died with unresolved grievances, Gu Yan didn't hesitate for even a moment. "I'll take on this trial. At least you've got a bit of courage. Let's begin, starting with a single bone cauldron." Gu Yan's figure appeared as insignificant as an ant when compared to the massive bone cauldron. He seemed as tiny as a mere insect. Both hands were raised toward the sky. His feet pressed firmly against the ground. He focused all his willpower to steady himself. In the instant Gu Yan held up the cauldron's belly, he felt as though all the muscles and bones in his body were about to snap. A series of cracking and popping sounds came from his body. The power of this ancient cauldron was definitely far beyond 108,000 pounds. Gu Yan's face turned utterly red from the strain, clenching his teeth tightly, feeling like his veins were about to burst. Alright, just endure for one day. The Golden Bull Saint seemed a bit surprised. He didn't expect Gu Yan to manage on his first try to actually hold up an ancient cauldron. One day Gu Yan suddenly felt his vision go black. He felt an overwhelming urge to give up. Suddenly that mocking smile of yours flashed before his eyes. He gritted his teeth and held on. Isn't it just one day? I need to get revenge. But right at this moment, Gu Yan heard something that almost made him spit blood. This won't work. Qin Shu didn't leave much time for Gu Yan. We still need to add one more. Add one more. Gu Ding, are you trying to kill me? Gu Yan stared at Bai Xaner with wide eyes. Bai Xiner seemed completely normal. Her almond-shaped eyes were clear and pure. She appeared to be earnestly making a suggestion. Her advice to Bai Xiner made sense. The Green Ox Saint accepted the suggestion readily. He immediately raised his hand again. A distant ancient cauldron about 10 meters away was drawn by this force in the void, and landed above the giant cauldron Gu Yan was holding up. The sound of the massive cauldron stacking echoed. Gu Yan, who was at the very bottom, suddenly dropped to his knees, broke on the spot. Blood burst out from Gu Yan's body. The veins on his neck bulged violently. Suddenly, endless power surged from within his spiritual sea. He forcibly lifted both bone peaks at the same time. That's really impressive. It seems like we can add another one. Ixiner showed a look of surprise. Suggested again. He is about to meet his end very soon. Gu Yan finally managed to hold back. A furious roar echoed loudly. Bai Xiner, you fool. Are you trying to get me killed? But before Gu Yan could react, Bai Xiner and Shang Shang had already vanished from where they stood. What came into view was an ancient hall. On the platform stood several unusual fox statues. When they saw these statues, the great sage, Green Ox, had a look of nostalgia in his eyes. Then he turned to face Bai Xiner, a dignified great sage. At this moment, he was on his knees. This old ox greets the monarch. Bai Xiner nodded lightly. Having just awakened. No need for formalities. The reason you were brought to the ancestral shrine is to entrust something to you. After speaking, he gently waved his hand. Suddenly, the spacious ancestral hall was filled with an array of dazzling treasures, quickly occupying more than half of the entire hall. Witnessing this scene, the great sage Azure Ox was utterly stunned. His mouth opened wide in disbelief. These are the 50 tons of sacred artifacts left behind from back then, my lord. They are exactly what we need right now. Take all of them with you. His eyes lit up. He immediately took a sharp breath. A monarch is truly a monarch. Using squats as a unit for holy weapons is unbelievable. Your boldness is truly unmatched. To think that back then, you still had so many divine treasures preserved. This time, the chances of our plan succeeding have greatly increased. This is all I can do. The specific steps still need to be handled by you. The Green Ox Sage quickly nodded in agreement. No problem, don't worry. Leave it to me, the old ox. As the Green Ox Sage nodded in response, a flash of white light appeared. The two of them were instantly back at the martial arts arena. By this time, Gu Yan's face had already turned pale. His entire arm was severely damaged. The bone at the top was also swaying unsteadily. There is always a risk of something falling down. It feels like I can't hold on anymore. No, according to the Golden Bull Sage's theory, the longer I endure, the more benefits it brings to my physical body. If I activate the mysterious gate, I am sure I can make it through this. At such a critical moment, Gu Yan's mind is caught in a battle of inner conflict. If this was before, he would definitely not hesitate to use the power of the mysterious gate to help him recover his body. With his knowledge of the mysterious gate, if he were to tap into the power of the mysterious gate, not to mention 2 ancient cauldrons, even if there were another one, he might still be able to withstand it. But every time he considers using the mysterious gate, your mocking smile always comes to his mind. You can't use the door every time. Maybe it will always benefit that guy. I will avoid using this door if I can. I absolutely refuse to use it. I will rely on myself, even without the mysterious door. I can still do it just the same. Gu Yan's face turned grim. With a loud bang, he directly threw down the two massive ancient cauldrons above his head. He hurled them straight down. Accompanied by a deafening roar, he completely collapsed sideways, crashing heavily onto the ground. At this moment, Gu Yan had every bone in his body completely shattered. His entire being was crushed into pieces by the ancient cauldron. And when he let go of the Kuei Nyo cauldron, immediately, waves of warmth quickly spread throughout his body, helping him repair his broken physical form. Gu Yan was gasping for air in big gulps. A satisfied smile appeared on his face, full of joy. The effect of this cauldron was incredible. It was so powerful even without the mysterious gate. In just 3 days at most, I could lift these two ancient cauldrons for an entire day. Heh, kid. Were you acting all high and mighty just now? Who gave you the nerve to actually dare insult the princess? Feeling like you don't want to live anymore, huh? Suddenly, a series of cold chuckles echoed near his ears. Just as Gu Yan was gasping heavily for air, he suddenly noticed something in his mouth. A hard, solid object had been forcibly stuffed in. Gu Yan widened his eyes in shock. He saw a large shadow surrounding him. What was shoved into his mouth turned out to be a massive iron rod. And the person leading the group. It was just yesterday that he found him completely unbearable. The young man with the bull-like stubbornness. What are they trying to do? Where is the lively and cheerful Sister Xin? Hearing the strange laughter echoing in his ears, Gu Yan's expression instantly changed drastically. He was still in the middle of his recovery. He had absolutely no strength to resist. Not to mention the demons surrounding him. Each of them had combat power that wasn't inferior to his peak state. It didn't take long for these young demons to show Gu Yan what a beating from the Demon Clan feels like. This is what it means to take a beating from the Demon Clan. You idiot, ha! Who are you calling an idiot? Go ahead, keep calling me that. Mocking and insulting voices kept coming one after another. Along with that, were the sounds of fists and kicks landing with a loud crack. A human not of our kind dared to come here. The Demon Clan has always been treated with hostility. Not to mention, they even got to use the treasured Kuei Nyo cauldron of the Demon Clan. But the most unforgivable thing is what happened with the princess. He was exchanging flirtatious glances. Does he not know the princess is the one we all dream about? Previously, they couldn't find a chance. Now they've finally found an opportunity. These young demons. Of course, they had to teach Gu Yan a harsh lesson. After the event ended, Gu Yan was barely breathing at this point. He was completely unrecognizable. I'm going to kill you all. If you've got guts, don't run away. Watching those young members of the Demon Clan scatter in all directions, Gu Yan roared internally. He felt utterly stifled. Without using the mysterious gate as a last resort, the speed at which his body was recovering was way too slow. Even though his skin was thick and tough, he had already gotten used to getting injured. But this kind of inexplicable humiliation really made him feel humiliated. Gu Yan lay on the ground groaning for quite a while. By the time his body had mostly recovered, he suddenly heard the cold voice of the great sage Green Bull by his ear. Why are you still lying on the ground? How can your body ever get tempered like this? Stop slacking off and keep pushing forward. As soon as the words were spoken, Gu Yan only noticed the sky above, where another massive shadow appeared. The moment Gu Yan was about to say something to Qing Shang, he suddenly swallowed his words. The young man with horns who had beaten him earlier turned out to be the son of the Green Ox Saint. At this moment, he was trying to complain, but whether the Green Ox Saint would side with him or the Iron Ox didn't require any thought, so Gu Yan acted without hesitation. That immense force once again pressed down on his head. Gu Yan began another round of fragile body training. A few hours later, the sun set in the west. With a thud, Gu Yan threw the Kuei Nyo cauldron again. It crashed onto the Yanwu field, producing a heavy sound. But before he could catch his breath, suddenly, a familiar voice reached Gu Yan's ears. His eyes widened. Before he could react, a hard iron rod was shoved into his open mouth again. Those familiar figures from before once again took advantage of the moment his body recovered. This was absolutely unbearable. Gu Yan felt like his chest was about to burst with anger. It was at this very moment. A familiar warm energy flowed over him like water, seeping into his skin and mind. Suddenly, his body recovered significantly. Gu Yan struck with a single palm, knocked the iron rod out of his mouth. The leader, Iron Bull, was shocked that he dared to fight back. Then he saw Gu Yan turn around and take off running. Iron Bull glanced at Gu Yan in disbelief, vanishing into the distance. This guy is no ordinary person. Carried Quinyu for that long. His body should have collapsed long ago. Still had the strength to run away. The young man with wings on his back immediately sneered, let out a laugh and chased after him. In an instant, this group of young demons surged forward to hunt him down. Gu Yan had no intention of letting him go. Gu Yan sprinted at full speed, heading straight toward the small bamboo house. Very quickly, he rushed into the bamboo house and saw a familiar graceful figure. The swaying tail made his eyes light up. Xin or little sister. Save me. The petite figure on the bamboo house heard the sound, turned her head to glance back, saw Gu Yan with a bruised and swollen face. Qingqing frowned and said, aren't you on the roof just now? Why are you shouting so loudly here? Gu Yan froze for a moment. He immediately pointed behind him to Xin or little sister. It's not that I don't stay on the roof. It's just that those guys keep bothering me. Made a move on me. Who? There's no one behind you. By Xin frowned. Her peach blossom eyes fixed on Gu Yan. No one is behind you. How could that be possible? Gu Yan was momentarily stunned. He turned around to look, and found that it was indeed true. He had no idea when it happened. The young demon clan members who were chasing him are no longer around. His face darkened instantly. He immediately said angrily that they were deliberately hiding. Hearing this, Aishiner was visibly upset. She remained silent. I worked so hard to get you this chance to cultivate. Is this how you waste your time? The demon clan people are straightforward and honest. Everyone is pretty nice. They usually focus on their cultivation. Who has the time to pick on you? Su Yan was momentarily stunned upon hearing that. He pointed at his own face, and also at other parts of his body, saying how could it not be true? Take a look at my face. And also here. Right here. Aishiner curiously followed the direction he was pointing, and glanced a few times. Is there any issue? He was pointing to different parts of his body. His skin glowed with radiance. It was shining brilliantly. Nurtured by the power of the mysterious door, it had already fully recovered. Gu Yan glanced over. He was momentarily taken aback. He quickly said that it wasn't important. Those people targeted me because of you. Why don't you stay by my side while I practice? Hearing Gu Yan's suggestion, Xin refused without even thinking. I don't have time, I need to train too. Gu Yan was stunned. He never expected Xin would actually say no. Whenever he asked Xin for help before, she would always agree without hesitation. Now that she's become a princess of the demon clan, has she gotten an attitude? He blurted out instinctively, you should just go to the palace restriction. What's the point of practicing? Do you think there's no need to practice once you get to the palace? I won't practice. I should stay with you instead. Gu Yan immediately replied. That's not what I meant. Then what do you mean? Did you just say that Tinyu and the others are blaming me too? Gu Yan was already feeling quite upset. Seeing Xin like this, he stormed off with a dark look on his face. If that's how you see it, then there's nothing I can do about it. After saying that, I left. Gu Yan turned around and walked away, heading in the direction of the training ground. Returning once again, seeing Gu Yan leave, Xin cast a casual glance, and paid no attention to Gu Yan's stubbornness. Brother Gu Yan. Why is he acting like this? Brother Iron Bull and the others are all very nice people. Not only did he speak badly about them, he even snapped at me at this moment. The pure white light in Xiner's spiritual sea felt deeply hurt. She was frightened by Gu Yan's attitude and behavior just now. This was completely different from the cheerful and enthusiastic Gu Yan of the past, who used to be kind and friendly to others. Aishiner gave a calm and light smile. Haha, little sister. Do you really think he's a good person? Meanwhile, inside Chongxian Pavilion, you, who were flirting with Nangong Cheng, suddenly raised an eyebrow.